homestands in the history of the Orioles has concluded. They went 9-2, including a 3-game sweep of the Cincinnati Reds. As a result, 9.5 up in the division. The magic number, 15. For the Orioles, the quest continues. Only now, for the rest of the way, there'll be none of this interleague play. It's back to the American League East. And here in Tampa, the first of 3 against the Rays, a team the Orioles so far have dominated. It's the Orioles on Masson, and after a long homestand, the Orioles on the road for the first of 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays here at the Trop tonight. The Orioles hoping to continue the play that we saw in that great homestand. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne, and welcome. For the Orioles, keep dwindling that magic number. Get it down. It's at 15 right now to win the division. And for the Orioles, they take on a Tampa Bay team they have played well against this season. The Orioles overall 11-5 against Tampa Bay. They have won 5 out of the 6 games that have been played here. And tonight they start a 6-game road trip, 3 here, 3 in Boston. For this first game of the road trip, it is an interesting matchup on the mound. If it goes according to the numbers, nobody may score off these two. Wei Chen last 20, 11-2, a 3.72 ERA. He's gone 1-1 against the Rays this season. ERA a little high. Alex Cobb, last 10 starts for a team that's not scoring runs, 5-1. But look at that 1.55 ERA. Against the Orioles lifetime, 4-1 with a 2.14. And as usual in this game, Mike Bordick, sometimes the numbers say one thing, but the games say something else.
Well, both pitchers have been on a roll. Alex Cobb has been on fire, winning 7 straight games up until his last start where Boston knocked him out. But it's because of the lack of offensive production for Tampa Bay. On the other end, Wei Chen, he's been pitching well, but he's been aided with an incredible number, 6 runs almost, runs of support per game for Wei Chen. But he's had up and down success against Tampa Bay. You know, he's gotten into 5 or more innings in all but 2 of his 26 starts this season. The 2 times he's been below 5 innings against Tampa Bay. So it seems like it's all or nothing. He either has a real good start and gets deep into a ball game against the Rays, or he gets knocked out early. This team can be pesky, but it's all about timing. And right now, this Rays offense is down, and the Orioles offense is rolling.
And Mike, as you noted, we were talking about this. These pitchers faced each other in the last homestand in Baltimore, and neither of them did anything.
Right? Yeah, neither one of them made it through the 5th inning. So it depends on what they have, you know. Depends on how the offenses feel. And in the last outing for both of these guys facing each other, 3 walks apiece, so their command wasn't there.
All right, we'll see what they've got tonight. And when we come back, we're going to talk with the Orioles first base coach, Wayne Kirby. We'll talk about the defensive shifts when it comes to the Orioles outfield. Baseball on MASN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by Navy Federal Credit Union. 4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union. Wayne Kirby, one of the toasts of the town when it comes to the Orioles in Baltimore. Major league career as a player. You see the .252 average, 119 RBIs, 516 big league games in the minors. Over 1,500 games played with a .288 average. He played with the Dodgers, Mets, and Indians. He has been to one World Series and participated. He handles the outfield for the Orioles as well as coaching first base. I asked him today, look, the shifts that we're seeing in baseball, is it good for the game?
Yes, I think so. On particular hitters that are pull-oriented hitters, I think is a real good thing. And in order for that to work, the pitchers have to execute that pitch. So we've been fortunate. They've been pitching where it's supposed to be, and our position players in the infield have been where they're supposed to be. Bobby does a great job.
Are you surprised that there's been as little adjustment from hitters, not necessarily Orioles, but all around baseball? All
around baseball. I mean, one of the things that, you know, growing up, you just had to hit the ball all over the field to eliminate that. But, you know, I guess hitters get stuck in their ways these days. So I like hits.
You think that'll change?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. You know, some of them, I mean, just the way the game is. You got to work on that stuff.
All right, let me ask you more specifically. Outfielders, you are in charge of moving them around here. What are you looking at before the game and during the game when you do those things?
Well, Ben and Mike Silverman does a great job of getting their scouting reports in to us, and you know, I call it homework. I got to do a lot of homework at the field, even at home, watching guys hit against other teams. What I try to do is I try to pitcher our pitcher and a different type of pitcher from a different team that faced that hitter, and go along the sequences and see how they hit the ball, see how they react on it. You got power pitchers, and we got a guy like Miguel Gonzalez. So I try to find a pitcher in the league, you know, that pitches his style of baseball, and then I'll get the hitter and go on to that. So it's a lot of work I do off the field rather than, you know, at the ballpark. And as far as I got to find out what guys ambush 0-0 counts, and then after 0-0 counts, are they aggressive, real aggressive, or less aggressive? You look at Morocco, who was it we played just yesterday? Mazaraco. He's aggressive all the way through the count, so I got to stay pulled the whole time because he ain't trying to hit the ball the other way. So you got to pick your points in the game, when you can play them that way, when you can't play them that way.
All right, let me ask you one. Evan Longoria tonight. What's the report?
Evan against left-hand pitchers, I mean, if he had a ball down the line, it's gone. So why defend it? I'm trying to take away his doubles. And so I'm gonna play our guys in the gap. I'm gonna play left fielder probably 3 or 4 steps in the gap. Jonesy gonna probably early in the count start off on the left side, then move to the right side. Nicky gonna play in the gap. We're gonna close that gap down. Then as the count get to our favor, we'll play the lines.
I was going to ask you that, and you just answered part of what I was going to ask you. How much adjustment do you do within the at-bat for outfielders?
A lot. A lot. It can go pitch by pitch. I mean, if you look at our ballpark in the outfield, it's not one spot. Yeah. You don't see one spot brown in the outfield because we move around, and that's to help our pitchers, and it's to help our defense. I always tell the outfielders, if a ball get by us, it's a double. If it get by the infield, it's a single. So we got to be on cue out there. We're the last enemy of defense out there.
I'll tell you what, Wayne Kirby and Bobby Dickerson have done an outstanding job this year positioning their fielders, really great students of the game, because you have to be sharp, you have to be intelligent, you have to work through counts like Wayne Kirby said. I mean, I've seen this Baltimore Orioles team move throughout a whole ball game. They're constantly being repositioned, and Wayne Kirby, Bobby Dickerson line them up. You know, there have been great improvements not only on the infield defense as far as taking away ground ball hits, but even the outfield defense, really cutting down the base hits that potentially fall in the gaps. And he talked about the outfielders really squeezing those gaps and understanding the hitters that they have to do that on. You know, all hitters have tendencies, and they expose that. And if pitchers hit their spots, then they're going to typically take advantage of that and hit into the defense.
And there's no reason to believe we're not going to see more and more of that as the game goes along with these shifts increasing. Take a look at our train game time temperature inside the Trop. Of course, it's cloudy and some bumper thumpers going on outside, but always nice and comfortable inside. Visit trainsearch.com to find your local train comfort specialist dealer. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. Here's the starting lineup for the Orioles, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Markakis, Lowe, and Jones, Cruz, Davis, and Hardy, Joseph, Flaherty, and Scope. Chris since 2012, 13 dingers, 38 RBIs against the Rays.
Take a look at Alex Cobb's pitch arsenal this season. He's got the fastball, 4-seam, 2-seam, low 90s with that, nothing overpowering, breaking ball, pretty good curveball. And the changeup is a split finger. And if he has command of all three, he can be as good as anybody in the game. And the numbers prove it. Just a 2.98 earned run average, 128 strikeouts. One of the big strikeout pitchers on this staff, just 39 walks on the season for Cobb. Opponents hitting 233. He's only given up the 9 home runs, 211 the lefties, 253 for the right-handed hitters.
Cobb is ready to go, and so is Nick Markakis, who will stand in to begin this 3-game stand against Tampa Bay. Markakis, 5 for 15 lifetime off Cobb, will go after the first pitch and a swinging strike. We'll see how much the lack of offense by Tampa Bay affects Cobb's performance here tonight as to how he goes about it. Because right now he has to start the game knowing he gives up a couple of runs, 3, and he's in trouble.
Yeah, you know, his last start against Boston, he went 6 1/3. He only gave up 1 earned run. This defense has kind of let them down as well. They got into a bad stretch where they made 8 games in a row where they made an error, and Cobb was part of that. But you know, he must feel like he's got to throw up zeros every inning to have success right now, because this offense is just not producing.
The Tampa Bay Ball Club 6-12 in their last 18 ball games. Nick Markakis waiting on the 0-2 delivery from Cobb, and he'll bust that one back. And as we said, you really like having the roof here. Outside, humidity up, cloudy, and there are thunderstorms around. 72, comfortable inside. Right now we feel no breeze. Should there be a lot of fans start cheering wildly, maybe we'll have one. But other than that, nah. 2-strike count of Markakis. Orioles with a 3-game win streak coming off that Cincinnati series. Nick will go the other way down the line, and that will end up in the picnic area, and a foul ball. For Markakis here in this ballpark, he's had 6 career home runs, a good 257 lifetime average. Ballpark that's got a big outfield. You can put the ball in the gap here, and on this carpet it will roll. Like Showalter, always concerned about his outfielders in particular and how it affects their knees playing on this hard surface. One of the reasons Cruz will DH. And Nick will chop that one foul. So he's working Cobb here in this first at bat.
Yeah, he is. And Cobb going right to that split finger, getting ahead with some fastballs. A big part of his game. Now, obviously, some plus pitches when all 3 of them are on can be very tough to get to. But also this altered delivery that he has. He has a couple breaks in his delivery, a pause at the beginning, a pause then again when he lifts his knee. Sometimes can throw off hitters' timing.
First innings, opponent sitting only 200 against Cobb. That one in the air, again down the line, maybe in foul territory, and there's that dangerous bullpen area. And Geyer slows down a little bit. Another one about Showalter's big complaints about ballparks like this. The fact, 1, the carpet's the way it is, and 2, these bullpens. They are dangerous. They never should be anywhere where a player can run over them, because you go up over those mounds like Geyer almost did right there, you can get hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're not looking, you're watching the ball, and you end up running over a mound of dirt, not realizing it's there. 0-2 delivery on the way again. Nick will take that one outside. A real quality at bat here by Markakis.
Take a look at Alex Cobb's delivery. This is a start. There's a preset, and then he brings that leg up in front, and there's a pause at the top, a little bit of a hesitation, so a double hesitation in his delivery. There, the pause, come up, the pause, and off he goes.
Stayed outside with it, Geyer. That one right at him. There was an adjustment in defense. They moved Geyer over towards the line after those foul balls were being hit there.
Well, you talk about defensive placement. Here's a look at the Rays defense. Geyer, Zobrist, Myers in the outfield. Escobar, Forsythe up the middle. Longoria and Loney on the corners, and Hannigan behind the plate. There was an in-game, in-at-bat adjustment there by Geyer. Cobb hitting his spots, working away. Nick Markakis showing that he's going down the right field line. Left fielder shortens up, boom, hits it right to him.
So Cobb gets the out after a good battle with Markakis. Lowe getting the start in left field, batting second. 1 for 2 lifetime off Cobb. They put the shift on against him, and it'll be fouled back, and I mean all the way. Now this creates interesting situation for Lowe. He's got Longoria, the third baseman's the only one over there. With Lowe's great speed, anything tapped between third and the shortstop's going to be a base hit.
Yeah, it's an amazing hole, and I think what happens is Madden, who really kind of created the overshift and has gone with it very consistently throughout his time, really puts the pressure on a hitter, especially somebody like David Lowe. Probably is not used to seeing this shift, and he wants him to try to force it the other way. A lot of times hitters very uncomfortable with that. And Wayne Kirby talked about it, hitters not being able to make the adjustments.
Lowe did. Gets the base hit. Just laid the bat on it. He had the entire left side, really, because Longoria had backed up and moved over to the shortstop hole. That's how you adjust to the defense.
I can't believe that they'll be in that shift when David Lowe comes up for his second at bat. Beautiful piece of hitting here. You see the pitch working away. Lowe staying on it, just slaps it past Longoria, the only infielder on the left side of the infield.
So the Orioles get a man on here in the first inning. And Presley will be real happy about that at bat by Lowe. Adams got a 3-game hit streak coming into the ball game, now with 24 home runs and 81 RBIs. Adam is 1 behind Chris Davis for the Orioles home run lead, and only 1 out of the top 10. Throw over and Lowe back to the bag. They have run against Cobb this season. Opponents have. They are 10 for 12 in stealing bases when Cobb is on the mound. And Hannigan behind the plate has thrown out only 27% of base stealers. So we'll see if Buck Showalter's interested in running and running early in this game and in this series. That'll be taken outside by Jones for a ball, 1-0.
Well, this is a team that is down. We talked about their lack of offense, only scoring 10 runs in the last 5 games, hitting under 200 as a team. Make a mark early. We also talk about this Orioles offense when they put a mark on the board. A lot of times they have a great winning percentage, so try to be aggressive and take this team out of it right away.
And a strike called. Will Little, the home plate umpire, making that call. And Jones, a 1-ball, 1-strike count. So Adam trying to move it around. Cobb, as we said, with the pronounced ground ball to fly ball ratio, 2.36 ground balls to fly balls. That's his career number, and it's the 4th highest among active pitchers. So when he's on, especially with that splitter, there'll be a lot of ground balls here off this carpet and a lot of work for the infield. 1-ball, 1-strike count. Low, pretty good lead. Long hold. There's the pitch, and it will miss inside. Lowe has gone 7 for 12 stealing bases this season, and right there he got a pretty good lead, it looked like, on Cobb. He took a couple of false steps on him, and he had him timed right.
Yeah, he's really extending it.
And got him. He's out. No question. And he knows it. He was thinking about going, I think, and as a result kind of was edging, leaning, and he picks him off.
Well, he got out there early in the last pitch here, trying to get out there to the same spot, and Cobb catches him in between steps. And David Lowe gunned down.
And there's what we talk about, a pitcher changing up his rhythm. The pitch before that, Cobb had held the ball. Base hit the other way. So the Orioles have put 2 hits against the shift here in this first inning, as Adam Jones had the second baseman almost over to the bag, and he finds the hole, but Lowe was already out on the pickoff.
Pretty solid approaches. Now Alex Cobb, he has the big curveball that he can throw at any time in that split finger. The fastball is not one that he throws in the mid-90s, so the Orioles offense can really back the ball up. They're not going to get beat by the heater. We've seen a couple off-speed pitches where both David Lowe and Adam Jones have shot the ball the other way. So here early on, they're not being tested and over-aggressive. They're being patient and using the whole field.
Nelson Cruz hot again with a 6-game hit streak coming in. He is the DH for the Orioles. He will take the pitch for a strike. He's putting the long ball up consistently again. Really has had only one stretch where he went into a bit of a slump a month ago. During this hit streak, 8 for 22. Play will be made over at first base on him by Escobar, and that will do it. So despite a couple of hits, the Orioles end up with only one left on. Push nothing across. Wei and Chen to make the start for the O's. Take a look at the Tampa Bay Rays lineups. Zobrist, Guyer, Longoria, Myers, Loney, and Escobar. Forsythe, Hannigan, and Rodriguez against the O's in his career. 23 home runs, 70 batted in.
We'll take a look at Wei and Chen's pitch arsenal this season. That fastball, it is his go-to pitch 66% of the time. And actually defend himself with that pitch and win some ball games. Touched 95 miles an hour this season. Breaking ball, slider, and the curveball 22% of the time. And the changeup still developing, but getting much better at 12% of the time. 26 starts this season, 14 wins for Wei and Chen, 3.83 earned run average. 155 innings of work as he's nearing 200, 166 hits in those innings. Opponents hitting 273. Has given up 22 home runs. Most by the righties, 19 by the right-handed hitters.
Tied for 6th in home runs surrendered in the American League. Has identical marks home and road, 7 and 2, and the ERA is almost exactly the same. Ben Zobrist has moved into the leadoff spot, the switch hitter. He's got a big 375 average against Chen lifetime with 1 home run. There's a strike. Rays are playing without Desmond Jennings, their leadoff man. He's got a left knee problem, fouled the ball off his knee series before the All-Star break. It's bothered him ever since, and he's missed the last 8 games now. So they had to move the lineup a little bit, and they miss Jennings, somebody they could rely on for pretty consistent at bats. And you need those kind of guys at a time when you're not hitting.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Of course, the at bats, they've needed the offensive help and defense. I mean, this team is really scuffled. They've had an up and down year, but right now they're at a downtime where their base running isn't good, their defense hasn't been good, and of course that offense at its lowest point.
Frustrating for Joe Madden and company. Zobrist waiting on it. That'll go to short. Hardy. Midsection hot, makes the throw and records the out.
Great play. Another great play by J.J. Hardy. And here's a look at the Orioles defense, brought to you by Chevrolet. Lowe, Jones, and Markakis in the outfield. Hardy and Scope Once again up the middle with Flaherty and Davis on the corners. Caleb Joseph behind the plate.
Brandon Guyer, a rookie, who's having an outstanding season, playing in left field and batting in the number 2 spot. He's faced Chen in 4 at-bats and picked up 1 hit off the Orioles starter. The Rays this season are 16-20 against left-handed starters. 16-20 against the lefties. That ranks them 12th in win percentage against lefties in the American League. And Chen with a great pitch down and in, and gets the cut over the ball.
Really a good angle right there on the fastball, driving it and into that lower third quadrant. 92 miles an hour.
1-1 delivery on the way. Taken. It will be inside. Wei Chen is after his 15th win in this game. 3-4 career mark against the Rays. And ouch. Wow. That one reverberated throughout the ballpark off the mask.
Pretty solid contact. That mask. And Caleb, pretty amazing that they've held up for so long. I mean, he has taken some shots right in the chops. He's shaking it out a little bit. Take a look. Just off the top of the bat and right between the eyes there.
Chen with a 2-2 delivery and does not get the call on that. So the count goes full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Wei Chen, who is a fly ball pitcher. We have one of each in this game. Cobb so predominant getting ground balls, and Chen not quite as predominant with the fly balls, but just about. And that one will be fouled away. A protect me hack into the seats. 3-2. Chen on the road. We said that 7-2 record, 3.88 ERA, has been a very stable force for Buck Showalter's starters. 3-2 count. Infield straight up on him, and that ball is also going to be fouled back. And Guyer fighting off some pitches.
Wei Chen here in the early going, like a typical night, establishing that fastball, working it in and out. Borderline call in this at bat, but good velocity. A couple fastballs at 94 miles an hour.
Try the 3-2 delivery again. That one put up in the air. Shallow center. Scope will back up. And he's got it. Guyer is retired. 2 down.
We'll take a look at the Jeep inside the numbers here. Head to head, Orioles have the lead 11-5. Been some tight ball games though. Take a look at the run differential. Orioles 71 runs, Rays at 51, and the home runs. My goodness, Orioles have been out homering their opponents all season long, 24-17, and even the earned run average. Orioles leading the way there, and typically this Rays staff tops in the league pitching wise.
Foul back by Longoria. Evans stands in with 2 down, nobody on. Longoria has been their big offensive player since the All-Star break. He's provided much of the power and the RBIs for them. Puts that one up in the air, center field. Jones just got to wait for it to come down. He does, and puts it away. So Chen starts with a clean inning here in the first, and after 1, no score. It's Catherine Solmel from Frederick, 500 for being selected. And if you're lucky, like most of our contestants have been over the last month, you may win some money tonight. Over 175 home runs. The lottery's awarded over $150,000 to the contestants this season. Play the Orioles scratch off today for a chance to win up to $60,000. You can find out more at mdlottery.com/Orioles. Go to the second inning, getting home runs in this game. Here's another part of this matchup that's interesting. Cobb does not give up home runs. He has given up 9 home runs this season and none in the last 8 starts. Chris Davis with a shift against him, and Davis will take the pitch. It is in there for a strike.
A big reason why is because he keeps hitters off balance. I mean, constantly guessing. There you saw a first pitch breaking ball as the Rays defense goes into their audible shift, bringing Evan Longoria over to the right side of the infield.
That is taken for a strike. Davis not quite sure about that. And quickly, Cobb ahead on the count 0-2. Davis 2 for 13 lifetime off this right-hander. The Rays are ranked 3rd in the American League in the number of defensive shifts that have been counted, 913. The Orioles are 4th, 725 defensive shifts. 1-2 delivery into the shift, right where Longoria moved to. And Chris is retired on a 5-3.
Pretty smart call right there, bringing Evan Longoria up the middle. And Chris Davis, we've seen him hit into the shift many times, but that ended up being more like a reaction type play that a third baseman would make on the hot corner. Smoked up the middle. Nice play by Evan Longoria.
The evolution of the game of baseball. Where have we seen it this year? Here's J.J. Hardy. Hardy with a 5 for 16 off Cobb. Game-winning RBIs, of course. Picked up by J.J. and the big comeback by the Orioles after Cincinnati's big comeback to tie the ball game up. Hardy's really started to produce here as far as the RBIs are concerned of late. He's picked the pace up. 0-1 delivery to him, fouled off. He had 26 RBIs in the first 86 games this year. He's had 26 RBIs in the last 41. So he's more than doubled up in the production of RBIs per game since the All-Star break. 0-2 delivery on the way to him, and that'll be taken inside for a ball. In fact, since the All-Star break, Hardy's only one behind Adam Jones in RBIs.
Oh, he's been clutch. I mean, you put a runner on base, and he's driving the ball hard somewhere. He has made some adjustments. A few of the Orioles hitters, his hand position has changed here over the last month. Bringing it up a little higher just to create a better angle at the baseball. And he has been driving the ball. A couple home runs the opposite way. And Jim Presley has stuck through it all with all of his players. Of course, of a long season, players' hands get a little bit tired, maybe their legs a little tired, so there are subtle adjustments that are to be made.
And seeing these foul balls off Cobb, that also is consistent with what he has done this season. One of those strange stats packets ESPN keeps track of. They say only 10.1% of balls rated as hard hit off Cobb, the second lowest among pitchers in the majors. 1-2 delivery. Chris Sale under those stats is number 1. So you're going to get a lot of foul balls off a guy where guys can't barrel it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's all about keeping them off balance. That movement, the changing of the speeds, the ability to throw any pitch at any time in the count. I mean, command of all three, and really, you know, I think he can locate his fastball as well as anybody, in and out, working the edges of the plate. But if he has both his curveball and that split finger on him one night, I don't mind.
Hardy, another foul ball back, and the count at 3 balls and 2 strikes. 29 pitches thrown so far, and the 9th pitch of the at-bat will be coming to Hardy. Markakis had a long at-bat. Hardy's having a long at-bat. Low fought-off pitches. 3-2 delivery, and that's going to be a base hit into left field. Played by Geyer. J.J. Hardy is on, and the Orioles have their third single of the ball game. This one with one away in the second inning.
Great at bat right there by J.J. Hardy. Look at all the pitches on the Nissan pitch track, trying to work him in, down and in. He got this pitch to that spot. A split finger, but a better job of hitting. J.J. Hardy staying short. And look at him extend through. Yeah, he was a little fooled on that. The long arms and the ability to keep that bat head through the zone as long as possible, pitching that base hit.
Caleb Joseph getting the start behind the plate. 2 for 4 off Cobb. Shift on. There is nobody on the right side. I mean, you talk about a place to drive a few trucks through. You could take an army through there and never meet the enemy.
Boy, does that seem risky. Just way too risky for me. Especially off a hitter that doesn't have as many, samples in the big leagues. I can see maybe a proven veteran hitter, a couple years in the big leagues, give him, 1,000 at bats at the big league level. The tendencies will really show up. But here, very aggressive against a young hitter.
Joseph puts it up in the air to center. Zobrist, who's getting the start there, will put it away. And there are 2 down. Well, you take a look at the numbers here at the Trop. Now, you always got to keep in mind these are combined numbers for the home team and all who come to play here, but the home team has such an impact on it. You see what's happened here at the Trop this year.
Yeah, I mean, numbers way down. Runs per game at 7.78. That's the second lowest behind Safeco Field, which is a huge park. Batting average, second lowest as well at 240. Home runs down 1.44. Yeah, this offense doesn't produce like a lot of teams, certainly not like the Orioles. That earned run average at 3.60, low, but they have and they have for a long time, always a really good pitching staff.
Here is Ryan Flaherty. Flaherty getting the start at third base in the ball game. 2 down, runner on at first. Flaherty with a 1 for 4 off Cobb. Interesting that the Orioles are getting the ball up in the air off the bat against Cobb. They've had 3 singles, and they've had a fly ball out to center, fly ball to left. Not the percentage of ground balls, at least early, you'd expect. That one off the mound is a base hit. He kicked at it, but that was hit hard. Played back in by Zobrist, so the Orioles get their 4th hit, 2 in the inning. 2 on, 2 out, as Flaherty gets one.
A good piece of hitting right there by Ryan Flaherty. And once again, beating the shift. Escobar pulled over on the second base side. There it is, whistled back through on the shortstop side.
We started talking about the shifts in the open with Kirby, and it seems like this game's playing right into it. We've had 3 hits already against the shift.
Yeah.
We usually don't see that in a game.
No, you really don't.
And we're only in the second inning. So the Orioles get 2 on, and here is Jonathan Scope. 15 home runs, 43 RBIs for the rookie. He's got a 3-game hit streak. He will take the pitch for a strike. He is 0 for 7 against Alex Cobb. Cobb's got a 1-1 mark against the Orioles this season. That one in the dirt. Great stop made. Runner's got a chance. Pick off. Wow, how did he catch that? Loney at first base. That was headed right into the runner that time. Ryan Flaherty, and I thought was going to skip off him and go into the outfield. Loney may have saved a run right there.
Oh, he definitely did. I mean, Hannigan bounces out, and both J.J. Hardy and Ryan Flaherty try to get a little bit of a jump, and then they head back. Hannigan not waiting for Loney, trying to time it up. Ball actually just missed Ryan Flaherty on the dive back in as well.
And that's a big cut on a pitch that stayed down and into him. So 1 ball, 2 strike count. Jonathan Scope. Great September kickoff. He's 4 for 13 with 3 home runs. Month of September. On the year, 261 with runners in scoring position. A real good number. 2 on, 2 down, 1-2 delivery to him, and that one's going to miss. Jonathan's been hot.
No, he sure has. I mean, unbelievable. 3-game series, hit a home run in all 3 of the games. A couple deep shots into the Reds bullpen. Finishes it off with a breaking ball that he turns on out over the left field wall. But look at the numbers: 400, 3 home runs, 5 RBI.
2 ball, 2 strike delivery to him, and that's strike. So Cobb will get credited with a strikeout. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 are left on. We go to the bottom of the second in a scoreless game. field advantage for the playoffs for a limited time. Place a deposit now on 2015 full or partial season plans and guarantee tickets to attend home games, 1 or 2 of the ALDS and other games throughout the postseason if the O's are there, and they will be. Don't miss out on this unforgettable experience. Sales picking up, so go to Orioles.com/postseason now. Call 888-848-BIRD. Get them while they're hot. Pennant chase. Let's take a look. In our Major League Notebook, the Royals are at the Yankees. The Yankees, of course, the team in second place, 9.5 out. Kansas City leads the division by just 1 game in their battle, and the Yankees are 4 out of the second wild card spot. The Angels play the Twins. Angels lead the Orioles by 2 for the best record in the majors. And the Mariners are at the Rangers with a half a game back right now, the second wild card for Seattle. And Texas with a new manager. Ron Washington today announced his resignation. Just said, family matters, personal, I'm resigning effective immediately. And that's, to my knowledge, all that's out there right now on what's going on with Ron.
Well, whatever it is with Ron Washington, certainly a lot of people's thoughts are with him. I mean, he's so well respected throughout baseball. Baseball's been a part of his life for a long, long time. Played in the big leagues, seemed like forever, and big league coach and then manager of the Rangers.
Bench coach Tim Bogar is the acting interim manager for Texas. Pitch will be taken away by Myers. Will Myers batting cleanup in right field. He is 1 for 9 lifetime against Chen. It will be Myers, Loney, and Escobar due up for the Rays. Every hitter's a shift in this game. That one's up the middle. That's another one that, I mean, that would have been a hit anyway, but he beats the shift. It's on the second base side of the bag.
Yep, just away. We've seen a few hits up the middle, where the middle infielder is either shifted on the left or right side of second base, and here once again, Myers beating it. See if there are any adjustments made as the game goes on.
We're going to have to mic up our first base coach, Wayne Kirby, so he can talk about all this, because this is really, it's what he was kind of smiling about, how hitters have not adjusted to the shifts this year in baseball. They just keep hitting into it. And he says, you know, I grew up at a time where you were taught to hit the ball where they weren't and learn how to do that. And he said that's just not happening in the majors yet. Here in this game, for some reason, that's where the ball's going. Pitch will be taken outside. Loney, good play by Joseph to hold it off. Loney with a 4 for 10 off Chen. It'll be hit number 1 for the Rays on that leadoff single. Loney hitting .250 against the lefties, .295 against righties. Not a big lead at first for Myers. Davis holding. That one in the air and foul.
When you talk about the shift back when Wayne Kirby and I played, I mean, it was prevalent, but only to like a power hitter, extreme power hitter, or occasionally you'd see a second baseman or a shortstop shift on the other side of the bag. But players like Wayne and myself, defenses would play typically straight up. The only hole that would be on the field is if there was a base runner at first, so we were kind of taught how to shoot that hole. Right-hander stay inside the baseball, and the lefty be more aggressive and try to get the head out in front to shoot that hole. So really those were the adjustments that made. Traditionally, defenses playing straight up on so many hitters, maybe subtle movements by the infield, but nowadays, I mean, there are huge parts of the field left wide open.
Yes. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Chen's delivery on the way, and he fooled him. Ooh-ah. Well, he had him tied up, but he didn't get the call on it, and the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Loney was looking heat there and was leaning into it and had committed himself before the ball got to the plate. Myers the lead off first, infield double play depth. Chen's delivery to him, that'll be put up in the air, left center field. Low is there, runner halfway will go back. 1 down here in the second inning. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Lots of Oriole fans on hand. Tampa Bay will be very happy about that, because boy, the attendance has been a disaster here in Tampa Bay for most of the season and for the last month in particular. So they're just looking to get some people into the ballpark. They were expecting about 13,000 here tonight. We'll see if they reach that. Escobar, runner on at first base and one away. Escobar, 269 off lefties, about 30 points better than against right-handers. And the pitch taken inside for a ball. He's hitting only $195 against the Orioles this year. He's had one home run, couple of RBIs. That is well below a career 282 average that Escobar has against the O's. There's that hole between first and second with Jonathan Scope moved over towards second base on Escobar. And he'll take the pitch up high from Chen and get ahead on the count.
Wei Chen wanting to drive that fastball in. Left it arm side up and away there. A little bit of frustration, but Wei Chen looks pretty good right now. Keeping that fastball typically down. You see the Nissan pitch track, that last miss up at the top of the zone. I like the fact that Wei Chen throughout the course of the season, it seems like his fastball has stayed consistent.
In the air to right, Nick Markakis. He'll make the catch. 2 down, and back to first goes Myers. And it's time for all fans to tweet your photo using hashtag MASSonFanPhotos for a chance to have it shown in a future broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Orioles arrived 4 o'clock at the hotel after the ball game in Baltimore last night. A very late early arrival. They'll play a day game tomorrow. Not going to take any batting practice tomorrow. Give the players a little bit of a rest. Kevin Gausman, Drew Smiley are the scheduled starters. That'll be a Fox game. And then back with you here on Sunday. It's another day game with Bud Norris and Jeremy Hellickson. It'll be on MASN 2. Those extra 1 o'clock ball game at 1:30 on Sunday. Tomorrow's game is a 1 o'clock game. 1-0 count. Logan Forsythe 3 for 10 with a home run off Chen. Runner at first takes the pitch inside for a ball. For Forsythe this season, .254 against left-handers, and 4 of his 5 home runs have been hit against lefties. He too gets the shift put on in the infield against him. Myers leadoff single, still at first. 2-0 pitch. He gets the strike called in the inside corner.
Well, that's a good one right there. Get a hitter into a 2-0, 3-1 type count, typically sitting dead red fastball. So it better be a quality fastball. And take a look at the pitch track right on the inside corner. Real good velocity. Not a lot hitter can do with that pitch.
Forsythe 2 hits in his last 31 at bats. That's kind of indicative of the way things have been going for the Rays hitters. This ball club was playing .500 baseball on August 15. 3 weeks later, 67 and 74. 3-1 count. Myers still at first, and went after one. May or may not have been a strike. Up and away. 3-2.
The life of a Wei Chen fastball right here. Take a look at the pitch track. It does indeed catch that outside corner, 92 miles an hour, but there's a little arm side run as it takes off up and away.
3-2. Runner will go. Myers takes off and is fouled right straight back. Forsythe was looking for a heater, got a 93 mile an hour fastball, but it was well located. 3 ball, 2 strike count.
Certainly one of Wei Chen's strengths since he's come on with the Orioles the last few years is the ability to throw the fastball inside. I mean, he can double up, triple up with it in there. Quality strikes inside. There aren't many pitchers that are real effective in the league that can consistently get a ball inside. Wei Chen is one of them.
And another one. It's going to be foul back. So we've had a lot of foul balls here in this ball game. Chen with a 1-1 record this season. This is his 5th start against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay It's touched him up a little bit. A 3.01 batting average and a 4.71 ERA this year in his starts against them. 3-2. Myers running again at first base. Forsythe, that one's off the mask again. Caleb Joseph has already had a long night. Twice he's taken shots that you could hear all over the ballpark.
He's tough. I mean, we've seen him a number of times this year take it right off the face mask. Of course, that big wipeout into the camera well at Camden Yards where he slipped on the on-deck circle.
3-2 delivery again, and he walked it. So the battle won by Forsythe that time. And with 2 away here in the second inning, the Rays get runners on at first and second for Hannigan. Hannigan doing the catching in the ball game. He's had 1 hit and 8 at bats off Chen, and that hit was a home run. Overall, the 4 dingers and 29 RBIs. Hannigan has had a pretty good bat going. He's hit .318 since being reinstated from the DL. He had an oblique problem. 7 for 22 since returning. And the pitch will be taken up high for a ball. Hitters against Chen this year with runners in scoring position, hitting .242, which is just about the league average. No score in the ball game, 2-1. 1-0 to Hannigan, and he'll get down the line, but it's going to go foul.
Just fighting off the fastball. I mean, there isn't a lot of movement on a Wei-Yin Chen fastball. He pretty much true four-seamer, just drives it in there, and hitters are looking for it, and still has enough on the end to get in on the hands. Right there, Hannigan tied up on that second pitch. You see on the pitch track, yeah, it was up in the zone. But he was ahead in the count looking for a fastball, and it still got in on the knuckles.
He's really struggled against the left-handers. 128 off left-handers. And another one that's going to end up in the seats. You kind of have to wait on those when they get up there into the suspended light systems and whether or not they might hit those.
Yeah.
And stay fair and be playable.
Well,
always a problem and a concern when you play games here at the Trop.
Yeah, either hitting the light standards or even just losing it in the roof. You see the color there of the roof. You have to have total concentration, and it isn't just one player. There should be 3 players on that baseball, you know, backing up, being prepared.
So another long at bat in this game. Ryan Hannigan, runners off first and second. 1-2 delivery to him. That'll be inside. 2-ball, 2-strike count. So 40 pitches at least are going to be thrown to try and get through this. The first 2 innings of this ball game. And Hannigan battling, try and get an RBI. In that department this season, Hannigan's hit .294 with runners in scoring position. Good number. 2-2 delivery on the way and off the fist and back into the screen.
Fouling off some tough pitches. Both offenses really making both pitchers work. Very similar to the last outings they had in Camden Yards. Both pitchers, pitch counts got up early. A lot of foul balls. Both offenses didn't put up a big number of runs off either of the pitchers, but made them work early in the ball game and led to early exits.
You're the pitching coach or the manager now in a game like this for the Orioles. May not happen, may not come to fruition, but you got to start thinking about the bullpen already. When you throw them 40 pitches, you haven't got through the second inning, you got to have in mind, all right, what are we going to do here? You've already talked about it before the game, but rethink. If we got to go early, who are we going to go to? 2-2 count, 2 down. Hannigan waiting on it. And down to third. Foul ball by just that much. Tried to put one over the bag and just missed.
Finally got the head out on one and just pulled it foul after some foul balls down the right field line here turning. Boy, that was close. Ryan Flaherty pulled off the line and just hooked it just inside the third base bag.
Because he had third base, umpire had that one. Buck has got, he said, 5 pitchers in the bullpen he will not use tonight. So that's when the expanded roster can really help out. They're still waiting for Andrew Miller to be ready to go. He's not ready yet with that leg problem. 2-ball, 2-strike count. They want to stay off Darren O'Day if they can. That's going to get away, and the runners are going to move up. Chen put that one, I think, in the dirt. If it hit the dirt, it automatically will be ruled a wild pitch. In any event, 2 are now in scoring position.
Wayne Chen that spiked that last pitch a little bit. Let's take a look. He drove it down and in. Caleb trying to make the pickup. Just kicks off the pad there.
Only the second wild pitch Chen has had all year. But now there are 2 in scoring position and a 3-ball, 2-strike count with 2 down. Hannigan has really battled here in the second inning. Chen's delivery to him, and the bases are loaded. 2 walks and a single in the inning.
Bring Dave Wallace out, calm him down a little bit. He's thrown a lot of pitches, like you mentioned. Maybe Dave Wallace seeing something mechanically from Wei-Yin Chen. Especially Wei-Yin Chen's last start. Pitched much better. Got deeper in the ball game. 6 2/3. Give up a few hits and 4 runs, but here Tampa Bay working him again. His last start against the Rays, the 3 walks and the pitch count got him out of the game early. Just trying to get him to stay aggressive in the zone.
He threw 91 pitches in that last start against Tampa Bay in just 4 2/3 innings. He's had an interesting back-to-back situation in these starts. That game against Tampa Bay was his first career start without a strikeout. Then he came back in the last game against Minnesota and was his first start without a walk since July against Washington. Now he's got the sacks full. Here's Rodriguez, the DH, batting 9th. 2 down, 3 on. The off-speed delivery will miss. Rodriguez 4 for 21 off Chen, including a home run. He too has been struggling at the plate. He has not had a hit in his last 11 at-bats. Sacks full. Myers had the leadoff single, consecutive walks here, and there's a breaking ball missing inside 2-0. And a yikes moment for Chen here in the second inning.
It was a good bite on that breaking ball, and his fastball has got great velocity, but right now just the command with his pitches not as consistent, obviously, as he'd like. Or Buck Showalter.
0 for 3 with the bases loaded. Rodriguez this year tried to drive one right there and missed it.
Yeah. Wayne Chen falls behind, and Rodriguez trying to backleg one. He is a very dangerous hitter. 11 home runs on the year for Rodriguez. See the pitch tracker. That third pitch just challenged him right down the middle.
Rodriguez 148 average over his last 23 games. 2-1 delivery to him. Rodriguez will foul that back. Couldn't get it barreled up. And the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Chen comes back on him after falling behind 2-0.
Gets some pretty good late movement on the fastball there down in the zone. A big reason why we're seeing so many fastballs is the fact that they are about belt high, thigh high. So it's giving hitters an opportunity to get the bat to it a little bit more often. When Wei-Yin Chen is down in the zone, much more effective. I can throw that slider off that pitch as well.
2-2 delivery on the way, and a foul ball. He didn't intend to. He was fooled by the off-speed pitch, and it came in and hit the bat.
Now going to the slider here. Bites in there, and just a check swing catches him off the barrel of the bat. Foul ball.
With both pitchers really having to battle early in this game, and a very long inning here in the second for Wei-Yin Chen. But he can get out of it. 2-2 delivery on the way, and going to go all the way with it. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Myers at third, a single. Forsythe at second, a walk. Hannigan at first, a walk. And here's the 3-2 delivery, and Rodriguez drives it. Markakis has got it lined up, and the inning is over. So he works through it, getting 3 fly balls out, 3 fly ball outs, no runs on 1 hit, and the Rays leave the bases loaded. Still no score. Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by Luna, the beautiful new carpet, hardwood and laminate. Call 877-241-LUNA. Summer night here in the Tampa Bay area. St. Petersburg, where the ballpark is located. Chen with his interpreter. Long 36-pitch second inning. But they remain scoreless. Orioles have left 3 on first couple of innings. We go to the third and back to the top of the order. Nick Markakis will lead it off. Long at bat, ultimately flied out to left field. So he's now 5 for 16 off Cobb. Couple of home runs, 4 RBIs against the Rays this season for Nick Markakis. And even Longoria moves in against Markakis, who never, ever bunts. Say one thing, they've been consistent this year.
They really have. It has been unbelievable.
1-0 delivery on the way. I think it's following the herd. The scouting report said the defense of the last team that played the Orioles, their third baseman played in on Nick Markakis.
Yeah. Yeah, take it away. You'll do it leadoff hitter, right?
Yep. And the pitch is going to miss. Long time on the bench for Cobb during that inning with his team at the plate. 26-year-old. 2.98 ERA. Pitched really well against the Orioles this year with that 1-1 record. Overall 4-1. Orioles against him lifetime have hit only .206 and have a 2.14 ERA. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, hoping to get a good long start out of Alex Cobb. 3-1 delivery on the way, foul bank. Joe Madden was talking today before the game of decisions that have to be made regarding some of these pitchers, including Cobb. Will you let them start again? When do you shut them down because you're out? I mean, you're not technically out yet, but you're out. Do you want them to continue to pitch for another 2-3 games?
Well, some of their pitchers have been injured. Cobb spent some time on the disabled list with the oblique problem, so he's still trying to kind of catch up and get those innings under his belt. It wasn't until just recently that Madden started letting him go, getting up over 100 pitches.
Yep.
So I think they're probably going to let him keep going, extend the inning count. Let's look at Matt Moore, who's been on the disabled list with the elbow all season long.
3 ball, 2 strike delivery to Nick, and he will take it for strike 3, and no argument there. Cobb gets his second strikeout, 2 in a row.
It makes it tough. You get behind on Cobb, and he has the ability to use all 3. Well located fastball, 93 miles an hour, right on the inside corner. A little bit of tail on it, working itself back over the plate.
Low. Picked up a base hit his first time up, then got picked off first base. Talking about those pitchers, Drew Smyly is going to start tomorrow with Tampa Bay. Makes his 7th start. It'll be his 25th of the year. Madden would not commit on whether Smyly will make another start after tomorrow. He said, we'll go game to game on that one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So they're just looking to see what's going to be best for the ball club for the coming season, for next year, as far as how much do you want your starters pitching the rest of this month. Back into the screen. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Low. From a ball club that won 92 games last year, went on to be the wild card team, losing to the ultimate champion Red Sox. They have fallen. They were 5.5 games out last year in second place in the division, 92 and 71. They've won 67 games so far this year. 1-2 pitch. Cobb will miss inside with it.
Now, they have had an interesting year, to say the least. They started off decimated with injuries to their rotation. Hellickson was out. Matt Moore on the disabled list. Cobb goes down. And it really set them back, because what they're built on is the strength of their starting rotation and their bullpen. So they were starting from behind early in the year.
That'll be handled in left. Lowe's retired, 2 down. Brandon Geyer coming over to get it. Well, Orioles fans, you can earn rewards for sharing and posting Orioles content on social media by joining the O's Bird's Nest. Do it at ozbirdsnest.com. Enter today's bonus code 33, Eddie Murray's number, 33, before midnight tonight to receive 2 bonus tokens and be entered to win a monthly prize, the autographed photo of a player, or the year-end prize of 2 tickets to opening day in 2015. That's ozbirdsnest.com. Two down, nobody on. Here's Adam Jones. Adam picking up a base hit. 4-game hit streak for Adam now. 5 for 22 lifetime off Alex Cobb. Cobb trying to get a clean inning here in the 3rd. Orioles 2 singles in the 1st, 2 singles in the 2nd, but could not do anything with them. Adam will take the pitch. Miss inside. He'll get ahead on the count. 2 balls and no strikes. 6th player in Oriole history now with a 50 or more extra base hits. 4 straight. Still waiting for that next home run to become the first outfielder in O's history with 4 straight seasons of 25 or more. It's been a while for Adam in the home run department. 3-0 delivery to him, and 4 straight out of the strike zone puts him on with 2 down.
I think Cobb was thinking he was going to be going for that 25th home run there. Being really fine, just missing the edges both inside and outside to Adam Jones. Nice job showing some patience, though, by Adam.
Nelson Cruz coming up. We told you, hot bat.
Oh boy, has it been 6-game hit streak, 364, 3 home runs, 5 RBI, 3 home runs in his last 5 games. He's on fire. Look out. He is doing some damage.
Good stop made. Hannigan behind the plate holding the runner at first base. There's the shift put on against him, leaving the entire right side of the infield open. But they know Cruz's job is to drive the baseball. So the likelihood of him trying to poke a ball into right field is almost zero. That's not what he does. 37 home runs, leading the majors. 93 RBIs, tied for 5th in the league. Chopper right into the shift. Forsythe, the second baseman, makes the play. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. It'll be the top of the order for Tampa Bay coming up in the 3rd against Wei and Chen. Scoreless game. September 5 back in 1995 was the day that Cal tied Lou Gehrig's record, 2,130 straight games played. When it became official, of course, the great ovation that he got from the sellout crowd at Camden Yards, tying that mark. And in 2007, the voice of God, Bob Shepard, the Yankee announcer at the ballpark, performing over 4,500 times as their PA announcer. The final game. Didn't know it at the time. Sickness would take him out of the booth and he would not return. He had been the Yankees PA announcer since 1951. And Derek Jeter still has the tape that introduces his first at bat, Bob Shepard.
Yeah, isn't he introduced?
Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Yep, still uses it. Here's Ben Zobrist. Scoreless game. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Zobrist at the top of the order, grounded out his first time up. I didn't even realize till today that we were going to be, the Orioles would be playing the last game of Jeter at home. I didn't realize that the 4th game of the Yankee series in New York is their last game at Yankee Stadium. Day game. And that'll be it. I guess the celebrations are going to be the Sunday before the Orioles get there.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but that will still be the final one.
Oh, yeah.
Foul back. The Orioles were there when the second Yankee Stadium closed before this one opened, the last game. And now the Orioles are going to be there for Derek Jeter's final game in New York. That won't be hectic. Won't be anybody wanting tickets for that. 1-2 delivery on the way, and that'll be fouled back. Somebody told me today, and I didn't look this up, that online at one of the legitimate ticket stub places, $200,000 for a ticket to that game.
Really?
Really. That's what I heard from a reliable source. I didn't look to check it, but I was like, holy moly.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess wow. The Orioles got 4 games there. They play there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 22nd through the 25th. Pitch on the way will be grounded down to third. Flaherty, tough play, gets it over, but not in time. Good play at both ends. That's all you can do with it, but Zobrist will get an infield hit.
Yeah, real nice effort right there by Ryan Flaherty. Helped out on the end by Chris Davis as well. Now, Ryan Flaherty made an incredible play in last night's ball game. Here, playing deep, though, all he can, charging in. See how deep Ryan Flaherty's playing. Up in, actually real close to third base, steps on the bag. And the one-time throw. And take a look at the pick by Chris Davis. Waiting to see the ball and reaching out there in front, digging it out of the dirt. Good effort all the way around.
So the leadoff man on. 2 out of 3 innings against Chen, who retires 69% of leadoff batters. Brandon Guyer, the number 2 hitter, bunts. He disguised that one. Chen gets him, but it's a sacrifice. And for a ball club that's not scoring runs, they're going to try and manufacture one.
Well, still play the game. You know, you're not out of it. You got a pitcher going. He's got a shutout right now. Cobb trying to put up some good numbers on the season. Manufacture some runs. The Rays offense has been non-existent over the past couple weeks. They're trying to manufacture one off Wei-Yin Chen.
Guyer now has 6 sacrifices on the year. The RBI chance will go to Evan Longoria. Runner at second base, scoreless ball game, 1 away. And taken. As we said, Longoria now has accounted for 11 of the last 32 RBIs that Tampa Bay has scored. He leads the team with 81. He's had 37 RBIs since the All-Star break, almost an RBI per game for him. Big lead at second. 1-0 delivery on a towering fly ball. That's up there by the speakers. And caught at the wall. Boy, that's a great play by David Lowe. That ball was right up there in the speakers and the roof and that catwalk area. You see him shaking his head, and it was right up against the wall, and he stayed with it.
I think it might have gone over the top of that catwalk, maybe hit off the top of it because he had to readjust. He can't see it. Look at the concentration, though. Still looking up. Making a nice play. Had to fight to get that out.
Boy, that was a heck of a catch. And that's one of the reasons Lowe's starting in the game. Defensive abilities in left field, plus that speed with balls that are hit out there towards the gap that go through so quickly. Here's Myers, who had a base hit his first time up. I think he was called on a swing on that by Will Little, the home plate umpire. That's, I think, what Myers is talking to him about. He had his whole body go around on that one. So Zobrist still out there at second base. Real big secondary lead for him. And the pitch inside. This team, the Rays, 246 is a team with runners in scoring position. That's 11th in the American League, as you would expect with the ball club struggling to get runs. Myers hitting at 246 in these situations this year. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way. Myers, a check swing, another accidental foul ball.
A little in between right now. Kind of sitting on one pitch, the Wei-Yin Chen fastball. The slider ties him up early in the at bat, and there the changeup. See him shaking his head. Frustration. A couple good pitches inside, and then a changeup away.
1-2 and 2 down. Myers trying to put one up on the board here. And we'll foul that one back. I'm just looking. I want to correct myself on that Yankee thing. I thought that last game was a day game. It isn't. The Wednesday game is the day game in New York for the Orioles. Thursday, the last game Jeter plays in New York, is a night game. I believe Wednesday is the beginning of Rosh Hashanah. The reason for the day game on Wednesday.
So that last game, the night game, I'm not actually going to be in the booth with you, but can you leave me a couple tickets?
Absolutely. I mean, there'll be no problem getting tickets for that. You got a couple 100,000? Grounded down to third base. Flaherty, foul territory, makes the throw and will record the out. Myers retired, no runs, 1 hit, no errors. A base runner left on, and we've completed 3 here at the Trop. No score. Davey Johnson, the Orioles' second baseman, 1965 to 72, 3-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove recipient with the Birds. He turned 600 double plays as a second baseman, ranking him third behind Brian Roberts and Rich Dower. He helped the Orioles win 4 American League pennants and 2 World Series championships in 66 and 70. He'd go on to manage the 86 champion New York Mets. Davey Johnson, part of Orioles history.
Davey Johnson, actually the manager of that 97 team, last team to win the division.
One of my favorites in baseball. Doing the Mets when he was managing was just a great joy. Much like Buck, he was just so available and outgoing and open with members of the press to talk to. Plus just a good guy. So a scoreless ball game continues here as we go to the 4th inning. Orioles no runs, 4 hits, 4 left. The Rays no runs, 2 hits, 4 left. Chen has walked 2 and again a ball game where he has struck out none. Cobb has a walk and 2 strikeouts. Davis leading it off. Shift is now changing. The shifting winds of baseball occur quickly. So again, they move Longoria over to the second base side, bring Escobar back toward short. And Davis will foul tip that one, held on to into the mitt. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Chris.
Pretty healthy cut right there from Chris Davis. Gets himself in a good hitter's count, 2-0. And Alex Cobb, for the ability to throw any pitch at any time. Typically 2-0, 3-1 counts are when you're going to see a fastball.
Buried that one. Davis tried to dig it out, couldn't do it. Chris has a 5-game hit streak. He's picked up 6 hits in his last 18 at bats, a home run, 3 RBIs, and 5 runs scored during the streak. 2-2 delivery by Cobb. Got him. That's that high strike. Chris didn't like it.
Chris letting them know about it. Let's take a look at the pitch track. Fastball on the box, catching the top of the zone. Not the best pitch, though, for a hitter that don't want to expand up in the zone. Some umpires give you the top of the zone, some don't. There's a high strike call for Cobb.
And that one's there for a strike. Hardy has picked up a base hit, single. Orioles have 4 hits, all singles. He got that one. And diving, and an outstanding play by Brandon Guyer in left field. A little late jump. I'm not sure he had a good read on that right off the bat. It looked like he hesitated to find it, but he did.
Yeah, I think a lot of outfielders on line drives, there is a bit of a hesitation, a freeze just to get a good read. After he picks it up, great diving effort when he understood where that ball was going to be. He saw that straight line to the ball. Nice dive, good concentration there.
2 down. Strike taken by Joseph. Cobb throwing first pitch strikes. Caleb flied out to center field. His first time up. Oh, 1 delivery on the way to him. That's the third. That's caught. Longoria's got it. We're not exactly seeing a lot of ground balls off the predominant ground ball pitcher. Orioles are getting it in the air, but it's at somebody. Of Sarasota on Florida's Gulf Coast. Go beyond the stadium to the top beaches in the USA. Start planning at visitsarasota.org. Not far away, about an hour down the road to Sarasota, the Orioles spring training home. A lot of Oriole fans who live in the area get a chance to see the Orioles play here in this 3-game set. Wei-Yin Chen, a couple of jams, bases loaded, second inning, worked his way out of it. Leadoff single, sacrificed second in the third inning, got his way out of that one. Now he will face Loney, Escobar, and Forsythe in the bottom of the 4th inning. Chen has been particularly tough on the road of late. Showed you at the top the numbers overall that have been stunning here for a long 2-month period. James Loney, a breaking ball for his strike. Chen has a 3.05 ERA in the last 7 road starts. That goes back to June 1. During that time, he's lowered his road ERA from 5.33 to 3.88. 0-1 pitch. That's at the knees, and that's in there for a strike.
There you go. A couple good pitches from Wei-Yin Chen. A slow breaking ball for the first strike and then dotting a fastball down. So getting ahead, attacking the zone with a couple different pitches.
Jammed him. Davis to Chen.
Well, the effects of getting ahead.
And Loney retired. Next Friday, the Orioles are going to take on the Yankees in that special day-night doubleheader, that makeup. Games are going to be at 1:05 and 7:05. Tickets are going fast for each game. They won't last long. Every game matters. The Orioles chase down a division title, maybe the best record in baseball, and the advantage home field for the playoffs. So lock in your seats. Go to Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Escobar flied out his first time up. And he'll take the pitch away for a ball. So far in this ball game, all that Orioles offense has been shut down by Cobb. That homestand where the Orioles were just rocking along. The 286 average, 6.1 runs a game during that homestand where they went 9-2. Doing it with a lot of home runs. 2-0 delivery. Yanel Escobar waiting on it. It is in there for a strike.
Well, Cobb certainly on his game. Totally recovered now from that oblique strain. And we had talked about him in the top of the show as well. How well he's been throwing. 2 runs or less in 10 consecutive starts for Cobb. So really shutting down a lot of offenses. I think the Orioles, though, doing a good job making him work. The pitch count starting to get up there. They're trying to get to that bullpen.
Cobb lifetime 34-21 now, 26 years old. 3-1 delivery by Chen, and that'll be fouled back into the screen. 3-2 with 1 down. The Orioles 29-year-old left-hander going after his 15th win of the season here against Tampa Bay. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Hit hard up the middle. That's going to be a base hit. So Escobar is on. Just his second hit in his last 20 at-bats. Comes with 1 away here in the 4th inning. Here's our PNC minor league report brought to you by PNC Bank for the Achiever in you.
Oh, Mike Wright, he's been on here before. 5-11 with a 4.61, but finished real strong. Getting the pitcher of the month honors, 2-2 with a .76 earned run average. And Dariel Alvarez, impressive offensive numbers both in Bowie and in Norfolk, but named the player of the month in Norfolk for the month of August. 310, a home run, 13 RBI. He set it on to Arizona Fall League. Get some more reps.
Forsythe with a runner on at first base. Logan Forsythe takes the pitch for a strike. He drew a walk in the 2nd inning. 2 for his last 31. So see his average, you just put a dash or a dot between it and you got it. His average is 231 and he's had 2 hits in his last 31 at bats. 0-1 count. Short lead at first base, Escobar. And that's going to miss inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Left-hander's delivery to him. That will miss up high. And Chen will fall behind. A 2-ball, 1-strike count on that off-speed pitch. Up to 76 thrown in the game.
Wynn having some inconsistencies with the breaking ball. Losing a lot up in the zone. Caleb kind of reminding him, finish out in front. Drive that ball down into the zone.
2-1 delivery. Got that one in the air to center. Going back 400. Jones. He's got it on the warning track. Runner tags. Throw comes in. Runner will stay. Jones threw that all the way from the warning track on the fly to Jonathan Scope. Escobar forced the throw but stayed at first base.
Boy, this is a nice play from Adam Jones. I mean, this is a rocket out over his head. He wasn't playing back there. He was playing pretty shallow. Look at the arm strength. Way into Jonathan Scope from 404 feet in center field. Wayne Kirby appreciating the defense there. What he appreciates most is the line that Adam Jones took. He just took a drop step and straight back. Makes another play look easy out in center.
It's one of those I told you. So now 2 down with a runner at first. Hannigan up. He'll go down the line. And that's going to be a foul ball. Nope, so far, as predicted, two pitchers putting up astounding numbers over an extended period of time, and both pitching that way in this game. Chen having to find more ways out of jams than Cobb has so far, but both giving up nothing but singles. 7 hits, all singles combined here in the game. 0-1 count. Hannigan a walk. First time up, takes the pitch inside and low. 1-1. Hannigan playing in his 70th game. He's had 187 at bats. You compare that with the 450 to 500 at bats the regulars have had. So well below that in his chances at the plate this year. 1-1 delivery. That one towards short. Hardy will backhand it. Scope there. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. 4 complete here at the Trop. First game of a 3-game series, and it is scoreless. Positively by his manager Buck Showalter about his play and his importance to this team. Our Antwerpen quote of the day is from the other side. J.J. Hardy on his manager. He's the most prepared person I've ever met. I feel like he knows everything that's going to happen before it happens. All the guys in the clubhouse respect him. I think that is a huge thing. He's really smart. He knows how to manage the game. J.J. Hardy on his manager Buck Showalter. Our Antwerpen quote of the day: visit their new Route 32 Clarksville facility. All month they'll beat any competing offer on your trade-in, so hurry in today.
Oh, Buck Showalter, when he came aboard, earned automatic respect for his track record in Major League Baseball, really turning around the Yankees. Of course, he wasn't there when they had all that great success, but he helped build that Yankees team into the strength that they were through the middle 90s and then on to this point, and then, of course, Arizona Diamondbacks. But here, J.J. Hardy has played for him now for a couple years, and to see it firsthand, witnessing why he's had the great success. His preparation is unbelievable. He is never, ever caught off guard, and that goes a long way when the players have the respect of a manager. They'll do just about anything for him.
Yep. Cobb working here in the scoreless ball game. Top half of the 5th inning. The Orioles Flaherty, a base hit. Jonathan Scope, and then Markakis will be coming up. Down low. Over the past week, the Orioles have gained 2.5 games for that lead in the East. They're now 9.5 up over the Yankees. Kansas City 1 game up on Detroit. They lost a half game over the last week. And the Angels in the last week picked up 3 games on Oakland. Oakland's now 5 games out in the West. Pitch is right there for a strike on the inside corner, and the count will go to 1-2.
Well, that pitch is very effective for Cobb. He'll throw that split finger, and it will fade down and away to a lefty, and also backdoor the curveball. So a lot of lefties protecting the outside corner, and he's run a few of those two-seamers that start right at their quad and work it back over the plate for a strike. Got Markakis on one of those, and here Ryan Flaherty. His pitch count now up to 70 pitches. There's a breakdown. 52% fastballs, typically more breaking balls, but hasn't had to go to it as often.
Ryan Flaherty waiting on a 2-2. And a swing and a miss. That'll be strikeout number 4, picked up by Cobb.
It's a split finger, and he can throw it hard, and he can throw it a little bit softer. This one 87 miles an hour. And look at it dive at the end. It's fading away. Looks like it's going to hold the outside corner. It just disappears off the plate.
That pitch right there is why left-handers hit 211 against him. Right-handers at 253. Jonathan Scope, strikeout victim, his first time up. Broken bat, center field. Zobrist, no chance. Swing bigger than the contact on that one, which will fool outfielders. And that one falls in for a single with one away here in the 5th inning. Show your support for the first place Orioles and earn a chance to win a Masson prize pack. Just all you got to do is tweet using the hashtag #IBackTheBirds. That's hashtag #IBackTheBirds for your chance to win. Runner on, one down. Markakis 0 for 2. He is flied out. Called out on strikes, 5 for 17 lifetime now against Cobb. And Markakis will take the pitch down low for a ball. Orioles season high 25 best over 500. First time they've been there since 2012. They're trying to get to 26 over. Haven't done that since 97. Here's the 1-0 delivery. Markakis. That's going to be down low as well. He was swinging early on Cobb pitches. A little mind game being played here. So Cobb throws a couple of balls hoping he'll go after him, and he doesn't. 2-0.
Yeah, some veteran players going at it head to head. I mean, Nick Markakis has that ability to set pitchers up throughout a ball game. A lot of good hitters do. And here, working the count.
2-0 delivery will be there for a strike. Low waiting on deck. Jonathan Scope on at first base. First hit he's ever had off Cobb now. 1 for 9. Markakis, the Orioles' leading hitter with 163. Goes hard to second base. Forsythe, Escobar, and Lomer. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. And there's that ground ball Cobb uses to get the pitcher's best friend, that double play. And see back for the achiever in you. by new Klondike candy bars, and by AT&T, mobilizing your world. A real summer night here in Florida. St. Petersburg, city I really like here. Family on hand, the Orioles fans. St. Pete is a very typical old, small Florida city. Very quiet, very tropical. Lots of water around, palm trees, and it's a nice place.
Yeah, unless you're in the trop, it's not very quiet.
What?
But
all the noise from the entire city is funneled into the trop for games. The entire day they collect it, and then they put it in the trop at night. Here's Sean Rodriguez. Rodriguez flied out to right field his first time up. Chen's delivery to him is down low for a ball. Orioles 0-5-0. Rays 0-3-0. We don't have an extra base hit in the ball game. Chen has walked 2, struck out none. Cobb has walked 1 and struck out 4. 1-0 pitch on the way, and that will catch the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Cobb shutting down an Orioles team that's had 12 home runs in the last 5 games. That one put up in the air. Bermuda Triangle. Plenty of time though for Jones to get there and put it away. As promised earlier in the game, our AT&T fan photo. Everybody wants to have their picture taken with that person on the far right.
Joe.
Joe, can I take your picture? One down.
A lot of Orioles fans down here. Of course, you had mentioned spring training home of the Baltimore Orioles in Sarasota.
Jonathan Skelp, Zobrist retired.
But also the Orioles minor league complex is down here in Twin Lakes. So boy, if you're a fan of the Orioles.
Did you see anybody up today that's there at the spring training? I didn't see anybody around the clubhouse
I
today.
did not.
Probably some here at the ballpark who were there working out. A couple of very quick outs here in the 5th inning for Wei and Chen. Geyer coming up. He has popped out. Had a sacrifice trying to set up a run in the 3rd inning. Got a couple of good defensive plays. Lowe's catch on Longoria's fly ball to left helped prevent any run scoring in that 3rd inning. Lowe himself got picked off in the 1st inning for the 2nd out of the inning, which helped Cobb get through the 1st. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Geyer. He'll take the 1-1 on a heater inside that he can't get to. 91-mile-an-hour fastball from Chen.
Shows the hard slider in there off the plate for a ball, and then backs it up with a good fastball located, boy, just off that inside corner, tying him up.
Here's the 1-2 delivery. Lefty's pitch will be up high. Geyer with a 2-ball, 2-strike count, 2 down, nobody on. And Geyer will watch it, and it's a strike. Big, strong inning right there. So there is the first strikeout picked up by Chen. He retires the side in order. Shield contributes $50 to support Be More for Healthy Babies. The Orioles have 339 walks for a total of $16,950. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Trying to figure out how to score runs right there. Just see how disciplined they were in their thought process. How do we get some runs here?
Well, Cobb pitching pretty well, but the Orioles have hit some balls hard.
Yep.
I mean, they hit a bullet at Longoria, left field. A couple nice plays. Low picked up a base hit in his first at bat.
Sixth inning, and the pitch will be taken inside. Lowe has a single, and he is flied out. Lowe, Jones, and Cruz. Cobb working. The 1 walk and 4 strikeouts in the ball game on the staff that, despite the bad season they're having, this pitching staff's going to strike out more than anybody ever has. Play will be made. Forsythe into the shift right there. Low, 1 down, 2 pitches.
After the base hit the other way in his first at bat, he stuck with the shift, and there he goes, hitting into it.
Jones a single, and he is walked. Well, Adam Jones will have to unload one here against Cobb, who gives so few of them up. We're talking about Adams waiting for that next home run. He hasn't had a home run since August 20 against the White Sox. So it has been a while for Adam in the home run department. American League, of course, led by the Orioles' Nelson Cruz, 2 ahead of Carter in the home run department. Cobb gets the pitch in there for a strike. Rays on a homestand. They've won 2 and lost 5 so far. Now 3 against the Orioles. It's a team that struggled at home. And Joe Madden just gave up yesterday. Said, I don't know. When he was asked, why aren't you playing better baseball at home? He said, I'm making it up. I don't know.
Yeah, he very disappointed in the wasted pitching performances because their pitchers have been throwing outstanding.
1-1 delivery on the way, and that will be taken inside. Here's what we're talking about.
Yeah, closer look this season with American League rankings. Take a look at the record. O's on the road 39-29, but the Rays at home 31-41. Take a look at the batting average, the runs per game, the home runs. Of course, Orioles 88. And the Rays down to 44. That's 12th.
Just can't explain why the bats have been so quiet this year for this Tampa Bay team.
Well, I think it's been a combination of a lot of things. Obviously, they had some big injuries. But I think this team kind of hasn't been able to stay consistent in all aspects of the game. Typically, it's been pitching that has carried them. Offensively, if a couple players go into a little slump, you know, you hope that there are other guys that can bail them out. Well, they haven't had that ability to do that this season. And even the fielding, I mean, this team has been consistent for a number of years now. Always at the top of fielding. Last couple of years just behind the Orioles. And in defensive fielding percentage, they've led up there as well. They've had some terrible streaks of committing errors in ball games. And even base running has been suspect. When we played against them up in Camden Yards, they ran into some outs on the field. So, you know, just some small aspects of the game they've kind of been lacking. But it's been an up and down season. We talked about the injuries early on, and then the middle of the season they really picked it up. The rotation started getting healthy, and everybody thought, oh, they're going to make a charge, and then they just disappeared. After they got to 500, like you mentioned, they just down they go again.
Yeah, since 500, 6-12 since they reached that mark in August. 3-2 delivery on the way to Jones, and he wins that battle on a base hit up the middle, hit it hard. So Adam continues to take it where he's got a chance to deliver a base hit. He's been on all 3 times, 2 singles and a walk in the ball game, and yet another single in this ball game as we still look for the first extra base hit. That'll bring Cruz to the plate.
Take a look here. The pitch to Adam Jones down in the zone. Sure, Cobb gets his ground balls. Adam Jones able to find a couple. You hit a hard ground ball, it's going to scoot through on this turf. Picked up a couple nice singles.
Well, let's see if the Orioles can use it. Shift on, leaving that whole right side open. Cruz 2 ground ball outs. And the pitch is taken for a ball. Generally, fly ball hitters will do better against ground ball pitchers. Over the history of the game, those numbers have held up. So the Orioles, maybe a chance. Good break. No chance for the play at second. Jones read it right and gets into scoring position with 1 out.
Yeah, nice read here by Adam Jones. Take a look at the spiked split finger, a bit of a hesitation. He sees where the ball goes. Good job by Adam Jones to get himself in a scoring position there.
That will happen with the pitchers who throw that splitter. That is the 7th wild pitch charged to Cobb this year. So now the Orioles with a runner down at second base. The only other time they've had that was in the 2nd inning. Hardy got down there with 2 down after Flaherty and he had singles in the inning. Could not get a run in there. Orioles 2nd in the league with runners in scoring position this year, 273.
You see the big shift. And we talked about Nelson Cruz, all the home runs, and typically looking for the long ball. But here in this situation, we have seen Cruz go the other way to pick up the RBI.
He will foul that one off. So a 2-ball 1-strike count. Cruz has hit only .212 against Tampa Bay this year, but he does have 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. Forsythe coming in. Forsythe's the second baseman, but on the shift, he's the one on the shortstop side of the bag closest to second base.
Yeah, right there, probably changing up the signs a little bit. Forsythe wants to know what he's seeing when the fingers go down. Maybe he can anticipate a little bit more in the middle of the infield. He's got a lot of room to cover.
Cruz with a 2-ball 1-strike count. Only 1 away here. Cobb the delivery. It's foul. And another battle, and we've had so many of them in this ball game by both teams. A lot of foul balls. This has not been a particularly strong building over the years for Cruz. He's only had 1 home run here ever in a 197 batting average. Jones on at second, scoreless ball game, top of the 6th inning. Two delivery to him. Nelson does go the other way, but in the air. Myers will set up so he can make a throw. Jones will fake it and stay. 2 good right fielders as far as the arms are concerned in this ball game with Markakis and Myers.
Take a look at opposite directions here. Wei-Yin Chen, almost 6 runs of support per game. That's the highest in the American League. Alex Cobb, absolutely nothing. 3.65 runs of support. That's the 5th lowest in the American League. Alex Cobb, definitely a great pitcher. Could use a little bit of that run support that Wei-Yin Chen gets, but the score is 0-0 right now. Both offenses having a hard time putting something across the plate.
So Chris Davis will try for the base hit and the RBI, something he's done a lot of this year, successfully so. See if he can do it again. Shift on against him. Struck out, grounded out. Jones off second. Cobb's delivery to him. Fastball is in there for a strike. Orioles just the 2nd time a runner in scoring position in the ball game. And the 0-1 delivery to Davis, and that's a strike. So he's been up, down, and he's ahead 0-2.
Good location with that pitch there. Looks like a hard split finger. Not as much dive, but check out the location. Perfect spot down and away, so he likes to rush the fastball up and in on Chris Davis and then work the soft stuff or softer down and off the plate.
14 two-out RBIs for Chris this year. Down the line, foul.
That was pretty nice right there.
And we'll hold the count at 0-2.
Got fooled on that pitch, and then whistle blowing just foul down the left field line. Nice approach. Good job of fighting there from Chris Davis. The Nissan pitch track. Yeah, it was a strike too. Trying to get that back door on the third pitch. And working the edges of the plate. Very typical of Alex Cobb.
0-2 delivery to him. That ball in the air could fall. Diving. Oh, what a catch! Well, Myers in right field will keep this ball game scoreless with 2 down. If that falls, Jones scores. It didn't. Jones doesn't. We go to the bottom half of the 6th inning after that fine defensive play, continuing to look for a run. 0-0, 9 singles.
Alex Cobb's got it going on, freezing Jonathan Scope. Wei Chen matching him there. Big strikeout. Chris Davis arguing the high strike. Now with another strikeout. Chen in some trouble. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Gets Rodriguez to fly out. And then Cobb struggling a little bit. Gets Markakis to hit into the 4-6-3 double play to get him out of the jam. Remember, Geico 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Take a look at the Orioles box score. Not a lot to show. All singles. Now this club really pound out the home runs. Of course, 185 home runs on the season. Cobb really shutting them down right now.
Bottom half of the 6th inning. The ever dangerous Evan Longoria. 0 for 2. Down the line, he's not 0 for anymore. That'll go into the corner. Low over to get it. Longoria's on his way to second. Stand-up double, and there's the first extra base hit of the ballgame.
The Rays offense not very familiar with that extra base hit. Only just in this ball game by both teams. Their last 5 games, that's only the 5th extra base hit they picked up. Longoria's 23rd double of the season.
Well, let's see if Wei Chen can work his way around this with a leadoff double. We've had the leadoff batter on in the 2nd inning with a single, 3rd inning with a single. Now a double here in the 6th. Here is Myers Flaherty moving in at third, looking for a bunt. Myers not bunting, puts it in the air, not deep to right. And an easy out recorded as Myers does not get that runner moved up. One away. Boy, the Orioles will take that.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was thinking about the right side. A little bit over aggressive early in the count. It's that weak fly ball. And Chen coming up with a good pitch.
Here is Loney, who is flied out, grounded out in the ball game. Rays now 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Loney, .274 hitter in these situations. Longoria off second base. Remember, Evan not particularly fast as far as running the bases is concerned. A ball hit into the outfield in front of any of the Oriole outfielders. They can hold him or maybe even have a play at the plate. 1-0 delivery on the way down to first, and that'll be fouled off.
Good fastball from Chen. Working back in on the inside corner. Actually, the two-seamer takes off in there. The only thing Loney can do is yank it foul. Look at the Nissan pitch track. Good job working the edges. And second pitch, a fastball riding hard in.
1 ball, 1 strike count. Loney waiting on it. Soft one. That will miss outside for a ball. And the count goes to 2-1. Loney this year off the left-handers. .250. 45 points higher against righties. Opening that stance up a bit. 2-1 delivery. That outside corner he's vulnerable to because he probably can't reach it. In the bullpen, Ryan Webb for the Orioles. 2-2. Two delivery on the way, and Loney takes, and that's there, and he knew it. Boy, Chen again, so tough with runners on. Will get a strikeout, 2 down.
Boy, that was a great job by Wei-Yin Chen. Take a look at the Nissan pitch track. Just painting the outside corner. He shows one pitch out or inside, running off the plate inside, and then right back out to the outside corner. Hitting some great pitches. Uncontested there from Loney.
2 strikeouts. 2 down. Escobar base hit, 1 for 2 in the ball game, 2 for his last 20. Runner on at second, and a couple of relatively quick outs recorded. Escobar will take the fastball. It'll be inside to him. Escobar started September with a couple of hits and 14 at bats. Still .246 on the year. Can be a good gap hitter. Adam Jones playing in a few steps. He's played a shallow center here tonight. Here's the 1-0 delivery, and that'll be outside. 2-0. Peralta in the bullpen. Joel Peralta. The Rays. Pitchers dominating here as the offense is just trying to get anybody across. Escobar will take that one. So the count goes to 3-0, and Yunel Escobar with foresight waiting on deck.
Now Wayne has to be careful here. You got to believe there's going to be a green light given to Escobar. Look at a quality strike. There's an open base, so it doesn't have to be perfect. We'll work the edge here.
.30 delivery. It's taken. Chen gets it in. Came in, kept it down. 3 ball, 1 strike count.
That was a good pitch, and it didn't look like Escobar was swinging. It looked like he wanted to take that walk if he could. You see that fourth pitch just painted on the inside corner.
Longoria extending his lead at second. 3-1 delivery on the way, and that's a walk. So with 2 down, Escobar draws the walk, putting runners at first and second. 3 walks surrendered in the ball game. 2 of them came back to back in the second inning. Bullpen has been active, and Chen will get Logan Forsythe. Forsythe has drawn a walk and has flied out. Has done better against the left-handers this year. 243, 218 off righties. Forsythe with the 5 long balls. Anything here to get a run in is what he's after. Runners will be going on contact with 2 down. Chen's delivery to him. Inside for a ball. A couple of hits in his last 32 at bats for Forsythe. Let's kick that average down to 230. Chen will look back and fouled off at the plate. That one caught Joseph.
Good changeup right there from Chen. Showing the fastballs inside, just missing in off the plate. Get hitters a little flinchy in there. That's what happened on the changeup. Just gets him out in front a little bit. A foul ball. Get himself back into the count.
Forsythe picked up from San Diego. Played with the Padres last year. Hit just .214 in 75 games. Here's the 1-1 delivery to him and gets him to go upstairs. 1-2.
Wei Chen this season has 26 starts. Averaging 96 pitches. Season high 109. Tonight he's up to 105. It's been a good year for Wei Chen as far as endurance. You know, he's been able to stay healthy. He's going to get close to the 200 inning pitch mark once again, and we've talked about him still just trying to overcome learning how to pitch at the major league level on 4 days rest. There have been times when Buck gives him extra days. It seems like Wei Chen comes back stronger, but it has been a process. But I think this has been a breakthrough year about understanding what it takes to make that start every 5th day, as far as nutrition and health and staying strong, and he's been able to hold on to good velocity all season long and get deeper into ball games.
2-ball, 2-strike count with 2 on, and he got him. Made him hesitate on that one, and he couldn't catch it. So a leadoff double, and Longoria's left stranded along with a runner at first. Strikeout number 3, 2 of them coming here in this inning. We remain scoreless. o'clock on Fox. Kevin Gossman for the O's, Drew Smiley for the Rays. Then you can tune into Masson on Sunday. Bud Norris and Jeremy Hellickson take the mound in the series finale. Coverage will begin at 1 with O's Extra, presented by Dodge, followed by game coverage at 1:30. All the access you need right here on Masson.
Buck Showalter over to congratulate Wei and Chen on a nice job. Once again, getting deep in the ball game. Really had to work through this one. Some struggles early on with some command, but settled in and shut down the Rays, like so many teams have done here recently.
No runs on 4 hits now. Anything this inning, of course, will be to his benefit if the Orioles can get on the board in the 7th inning. Hardy is single and he is flied out.
You see Alex Cobb's pitch arsenal in this ball game. 56% fastballs, 32% splitties, just 12% breaking balls.
That'll go right to second base. Forsythe is there to record the out. Talking about shutouts here, Tampa Bay has a major league leading 17 times that they have been shut out this season. Now their pitching staff has also picked up 18 shutouts. So that's how divergent it's been from how good the pitching has been to hold them in to how ineffective the offense has been to get them on the board.
It's been frustrating.
7th inning, the Orioles out hitting the Rays 6-4, but no score. Joseph will take the pitch for a strike. He is flied out and lined out. Orioles have had 2 runners to second base in the game. That is also their first strike. Cobb just continuing to mount up the number of strikes he's throwing in this ball game.
Slow him down, speed him up, slow him down, speed him up, and then work the nasty split fingers down in the zone.
Swing and a miss. Took only 3. 5 Ks.
That's about all it took. We saw all 3 pitches. Start him off with a slow breaking ball, then a good fastball, and there's a nasty split diving down and in. Making easy work. See the split finger grip and look at the dive right in front of the plate. Down it goes.
Cobb has entered double digits in strikeouts. Houston, he had 11 against them, 10 against St. Louis, 12 against Milwaukee this year. Brian Flaherty, that's a strike. Cobb's reached 100. 2 down, nobody on, 7th inning. Flaherty is single and is struck out. Alex Cobb will miss inside with that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Masterful job done by these 2 starters. Completely the opposite of what they did when they matched up in their last meeting in Baltimore, where both struggled. Cobb thought he had a strike on that, doesn't get the call. And the count goes to 2-1. There's Wei and Chen hoping. It's an ND for him if the Orioles don't score here in this half inning. Two 2-1 pitch. Here the home plate umpire asking, did he go? The answer was no.
After 3 fastballs there, just missing, he drops a nasty split finger, thinking the player will be gearing up for the heater. You see the 4th pitch just diving down and out of the zone. Good splitty.
So Flaherty ahead on the count, 3 balls and 1 strike. Cobb starts it again. Flaherty on a heater.
That was an interesting delivery there. He hesitated for about 3 seconds on his first pause. He hasn't done that this whole ball game. Cobb starts this season with season high 112 tonight. 104 pitches, so let him go.
Flaherty goes down swinging. 6 strikeouts in the ball game, 2 here in the inning. 7th inning stretch time at the Trop. Webb will be coming on for the Orioles. 0-0. Miller time brought to you by Miller Lite.
Wei Chen found himself in a jam, a base hit and a couple walks, and here's how he worked Rodriguez to get the final out. Falls behind, a couple good fastballs though back in the zone. Hit a hard slider. Fastball in, opening up the outside corner. Sure enough, fastball away, 92 miles an hour. Fly ball out, a big out, pitching himself out of a big jam. Take a look at his pitch arsenal in this ball game. 67% fastballs, pretty much true to form. Breaking ball down a little bit, but worked the changeup well. Nice line by Wei Chen. 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs on the board, 3 walks, and 3 Ks. Time for the Jiffy Lube pitching change. This pitching change should be quick, just like a Jiffy Lube signature service oil change. At Jiffy Lube, they get you in and out fast, and you never need an appointment. Ryan Webb now in the ball game, and here's how he works his pitches. Fastball 58%. The breaking ball, the sweeping slider at 33% of the time, and the changeup 9%. 3.80 earned run average for the Orioles this season. 34 strikeouts to 10 walks. 42 2/3 innings of work. Opponents hitting 255 overall. Lefties down to 207. Righties at 280.
So the bullpen takes over for the Orioles. Brian Hannigan, the catcher, has walked it into a fielder's choice. Rodriguez and the leadoff batter due up. Webb has picked up a victory against this Tampa Bay team this year. He's 1-0. This is the 5th game he's appeared in this season against them. Worked 5 1/3 innings and has given up nothing. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, including striking the side out once this year against Tampa Bay. Into foul territory down near the bullpen. Davis, the long run, and that'll end up in the seats.
Pretty good effort right there by Chris Davis. Long way to go, but never gave up on the ball. Ryan Webb really did a great job with the Orioles. Got off to a slow start, but boy, he settled in and he became a dominant part of the Orioles bullpen. Really helped carry them through a couple months in the middle of the summer. Brad Boxberger trying to get loose down in the Rays bullpen.
0-2 count on Hannigan. And the fastball will move him off the plate. The Orioles are 17-9 in games started by Wei Chen this year. Let's see if they add another to that, even though he won't add a win to his numbers. Webb with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Dominated by pitching. That'll go to second. Scope. Little twisting ground ball. Hannigan is retired. 1 away, bottom of the 7th inning.
Good pitch right there from Ryan Webb. No, big arm, the 3/4 arm slot. Good velocity at 93, and it just rides in. on the righties. A jam shot there to Jonathan Scope.
David DeJesus will be the pinch hitter for Rodriguez. Rodriguez had an 0 for 2 on a couple of fly ball outs. DeJesus has played in just 4 games since coming back off the DL. He's had a 1 for 8 in those ball games. Another one of the injured players. That'll be foul back. Without DeJesus, who was off and on that DL, he's played in 66 games this season. They have missed his bat in the lineup. He's one of those players that can come in and out of the lineup depending on matchups that Joe Madden likes to do so much, but this year has not been able to do that. As Mike was talking about earlier, when you got people injured, you don't have that manpower available to juggle lineups the way Madden does, and so you're left with some matchups sometimes you really don't like.
So many organizations, have to kind of step back after this season and reevaluate things. The depth are there enough players that can come up and help your team if a player goes down? We've seen a lot of teams throughout the league, and the Orioles are one of them, that have lost some key components. Through the course of the season. Machado and Matt Wieters aren't playing right now. Missing the whole season. And how do you fill the void? You have to have the good depth in the organization and players to pick up the slack.
DeJesus had a good year against the Orioles when he played this year. 6 for 16 with 1 home run, .375 batting average against the Orioles this season. Orioles with the 11-5 edge in the season series. Final 3 games against Tampa Bay this year being played here. The Orioles trying to put some more ground between themselves and the second place Yankees. Magic number at 15. The Orioles with a 3-game win streak. Pitch will be taken, and DeJesus is on. So with 1 away, a runner on, and it will turn the order over for Zobrist. Orioles have extended their American Heart Association 50% off ticket offer to the upcoming Blue Jays series, 15th through the 17th. Orioles serving as the mission engagement chair for the 15 Baltimore Heart Ball. Partnership with the American Heart Association, SunTrust Bank. Again, the O's are offering for this worthy cause this offer to you. Go to Orioles.com/AHA. Receive 50% off tickets to any game in the series when you donate $10 for each ticket purchased. Here is Ben Zobrist, a single, 1 for 3. And he will take the pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Zobrist with 9 home runs, 44 RBIs, has always been a nemesis for the Orioles. .282 lifetime hitter against the O's. 15 career home runs. Only one of those coming this season. Back on the belly. Zobrist has a 1 for 6 against Webb. 7th inning, no score. His base hit came in the 3rd. DeJesus digging in over there at first base, not going. Pitch is going to be inside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Oh, just missing right there. Good 2-seamer, almost brought it back over the inside corner. They're working him away a couple pitches.
Zobrist a better average from the other side, .338, .249 left-handed, but 7 of his 9 home runs hit left-handed. And that pitch is going to be outside. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Down to where one mistake can mean the ball game. Webb a look over. Here's the 2-1 delivery, and that'll be fouled off. And he'll get that count evened up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
This is a very typical Orioles-Rays game here in the Trop. The Orioles 5-1 this season have played the Rays very tough, both here and in their home park, Camden Yards. Here at the Trop, every game has been decided by 2 runs or less. So you know you're going to have a tight ball game. I mean, it comes down to 1 or 2 pitches. And here it's going to be tested. Both bullpens are going to be tested at the end.
2-2 delivery on the way, and that'll miss inside. Did he go? No. Same kind of game being played at Yankee Stadium tonight. The Royals have a 1-0 lead over the Yankees, bottom of the 9th inning in their ball game. Pitching dominating. Indians 1-1, top of the 9th inning, their game. Zobrist, De Jesus at first, and a timeout asked for at the plate. The Orioles magic number at 15. 3-2, runner goes. Zobrist ground ball to second. Scope's going to go to second, doesn't get it. Throw to first, he'll get the out. Tough way to get it out at first base, but they got it.
Boy, that is a great play right there by Jonathan Scope. J.J. Hardy probably asking for the ball. This is a bullet. De Jesus going on the 3-2 count. Give it up, give it up. Pretty close play. Had to be close at second base.
So Buck Showalter is on his way up. Jerry Davis, the crew chief, is the first base umpire. Greg Gibson, the second base umpire, who made the call, and they're not going to challenge it.
That's a nice heady play by the shortstop J.J. Hardy to want that ball. A lot of second basemen won't give it up to the shortstop, but J.J. wanting for it, calling it. Give it up, give it up. There it goes. Really got his foot in there. Jesus calling safe as well, but why not take the chance? A hard hit ground ball. JJ knows he's going to be able to relay it to first base, and he also knows he's not going to be taken out in that type of play. So good play by JJ, and Jonathan Scope on his toes as well.
So the out recorded at first on a 4-6-3. Now a runner at second base. There are 2 down. Tampa Bay 0 for 5, runners in scoring position. Geyer, a sacrifice, pop up, and he's been called Matt Joyce, others coming on to hit for Geyer with a runner at second base. And the pitch to him gets away up into the seats behind home plate, and a run will stay at third. Runner's got to go. He wanted to come in to score, but only going to get 1. Wild pitch.
Boy, a tough one there for Caleb Joseph. Spiked and kicking up away and into the camera well. Take a look. Took possibly the changeup. He held on a little bit too long, and Caleb fighting to try to get over in that position. Catches him off the forearm. Kicks away.
Joyce a 1 for 4 off Webb. Pinch hitting, 7th inning. Puts it in the air to right field. Nick Markakis, he's got it lined up, and he'll put it away. And again, getting these runs impossible. We've completed 7. The Orioles and the Rays, no score.
again. 7 strong innings, 6 hits, shut down this Orioles offense. No earned runs, 6 strikeouts. Take a look at his arsenal. 55% fastballs, a tick up than from his season average. Go to the breaking ball quite as often, but that changeup, the split finger, was very effective in this game. Now it's time for the M&T Bank call to the bullpen, brought to you by M&T Bank. When Baltimore succeeds, we all succeed. Brad Boxberger, one of the power arms out of this Rays bullpen. A big reason why they have so many strikeouts. Look at his fastball, 64% of the time. Pretty good one. Low to mid 90s. A breaking ball rarely. He does have the slider, 2%, but it's a changeup. It's a turbo changeup. Very good pitch for Boxberger. 56 games, a 1.98 earned run average, 92 strikeouts this season. 156 batting average. Lefties at 109 and the righties at 196.
So Boxberger will work here. Joyce stays in the ball game in left field. And the pitch will be taken for a strike by Jonathan Schoop. The 7th time this year that Alex Cobb has left a game without giving up an earned run. Amazing. And he extends now to 11 consecutive starts, allowing 2 runs or less. 0-1 delivery will be outside. Orioles looking for one of those big long balls that they put up so often this season. And right now could be the deciding factor in this ball game. Single and a strikeout for Jonathan Schoop. Boxberger will deal. It'll miss away. Schoop will get ahead on the count, 2-1. Markakis and Lowe to follow here in the 8th inning. Two-one delivery. Had him way out in front and fouls it right straight back.
And that's a changeup. Probably his best pitch. Really good. Best ones have the good depth and the sink at the bottom of the zone. They're just a strike, but takes the pace off of it and able to get back into the count.
Schoop 0 for 3 off Boxberger, and now 0 for 4.
Good live fastball there. Off that changeup, 94 miles an hour, a little bit of a cross-body delivery. Take a look. Just driving it, creating the good angle, down and away. Jonathan Schoop can't quite catch up. Boxberger didn't make this team out of camp. He was called up because the bullpen was overused so much at the beginning of the season. He hasn't looked back.
Nick Markakis also is 0 for 4 off him. Orioles have seen a lot of Boxberger this year. 10th game he's appeared in against the Orioles. The Orioles have hit him. They picked up 3 runs on 4 hits against Boxberger. A couple of walks. He has struck out 15 Orioles in 10 innings coming in, and added 1 more with Jonathan Schoop's strikeout. Markakis with the 0 for 3 in the ball game. We are in the 8th. There's no score. We've had 1 extra base hit in the game, a leadoff double in the 6th inning by Longoria, and the Tampa Bay Rays could not score as Wei-Yin Chen shut him down. Foul back. And a 2-ball 1-strike count on Nick.
Now they had a couple opportunities off Wei-Yin Chen, but he found a way to pitch himself out of a couple jams. Early on in the ball game, the command wasn't quite there, but he did settle in. Deep into it once again.
2-1 delivery to Markakis will be up in the air to left center field. Hit pretty good, but it's in the yard. Look out. Zobrist, Joyce just coming on to play in left field, made the catch. Zobrist has not made many starts in center, and they almost collided.
Nick Markakis with a good swing on the ball, just splitting Zobrist and Joyce, and then communication. Tough. Both calling probably at the same time. Joyce able to come down with it. You see Zobrist yelling. Little eye roll there from Joyce.
A big play to get the out. David Lowe single, 1 for 3 in the ball game. Big play picked off in the first inning after he got a 1-out single. Cobb picked him off. Maybe a chance in that inning. Jones would follow with a base hit. But you never know. Ball game changes on things that happened before. Shift on against Lowe. 0-1 delivery is going to be outside.
See if David Lowe can use that left side of the field to his advantage like he did in the first at bat. Big shift on him.
He'll foul it back. This bullpen of the Rays is ranked 8th in the league in earned run average. They have given up home runs. They are tied for 12th in most home runs surrendered. While the starters don't give up many, and in this case Cobb gave up few, the bullpen has surrendered some long balls. Boxberger's pitch, and that'll be fouled away. Lowe trying to drive that towards the left field area, and a pitch meant to go that way. 1-2.
Good fastball, 94 miles an hour. Riding up and out of the zone. Good swing from David Lowe. He's been swinging the bat very well lately since the beginning of July, up around the 340 mark.
1-2 pitch on the way. Lowe again fouls it. Now Kansas City has beaten the Yankees 1-0. That's the final score. The Orioles' magic number is now 14. Any combination of wins by the Orioles, losses by the Yankees that add up to 14. They win the division title. They win this ball game. They could cut it down to 13. 1-2 the count on Lowe. Boxberger's delivery to him, and he got it. So Boxberger does what he does. He gets strikeouts, 2 of them here in the 8th. Bottom of the 8th coming. Still no runs. Your postseason tickets so you don't miss any of the action. For a limited time, place a deposit on a 2015 full or partial season plan, and you'll be part of playoff baseball at Camden Yards. By placing a deposit, you're guaranteed home games 1 or 2 of the ALDS and other games throughout the postseason should the Orioles advance. Visit Orioles.com/postseason or call 888-848-BIRD. Now the standings with the Yankees losing 1-0. Toronto's now in a tie. Toronto is leading Boston tonight 6-3 in the 8th inning. So if Toronto wins, they're going to move into second place, a half game ahead of the Yankees. And round we go. And the wild card spot for the Yankees becomes less likely with that loss. And the pitch on the inside corner for a strike. Bottom of the 8th inning, Longoria, a double, and 2 fly ball outs. Myers and Loney up. Brian Webb out of the bullpen, 2nd inning, surrendered a walk in the 7th. No hits. Longoria will take it. It's a strike.
Longoria not liking that call, but a real good pitcher's pitch right there from Ryan Webb. Good 2-seam fastball right at the bottom of the zone on the outside corner. That's where you want to put it against a very dangerous hitter.
Longoria's 0 for 5 off Webb, and that pitch away. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Both starters non-decision. Great starts. Chen, no runs, 4 hits over 6. Cobb with no runs, 6 hits over 7. 1-2 delivery. Longoria to third and foul. 5 have been left on by the Orioles, 8 left on by the Rays. Rays have had the chances with runners in scoring position in this ball game and just have not been able to produce. Orioles have been able to get a runner down to second base only twice. Here's the 1-2 delivery. Longoria will foul it away.
You gotta be careful up there. And Longoria with those arms extended, he can do some damage. He's having an off season, but very productive RBI wise this year. And he has heated up.
Their RBI leader. 1-2 delivery to him. Hit hard. Base hit. Left field. Can he get 2? Lowe's going to go over to get it. He's on his way to second, and Lowe's good play holds him at first. Big play to keep a potential game-winning run at first instead of second.
Yeah, it was. David Lowe with the great speed out in left field, able to cut this ball off before it gets to the wall. Take a look at the swing here. The slider. Longoria catching it out in front, shooting it through that 5-6 hole. David Lowe was filling up that gap in left center, but out of nowhere he comes and cuts it off. Longoria thinking 2 right out of the box, has to put the brakes on. Good defensive play right there by David Lowe. Keep that double play in order.
Boy, has Lowe been a nemesis in this ball game for Longoria. He caught that ball in the 3rd inning right up against a wall that had gone up and over one of the catwalks. Somehow found it. Here's Myers, a single, 1 for 3. Myers will take it on the outside corner for a strike. Hit number 5 for the Rays.
Good slider, good location right there. Myers cheating a little bit. Thinking about that fastball, the inner 3rd, and that front hip. It leaked a little too soon. Opened up the outside corner there.
First time these two have faced off. Fastball will be inside. Meek in the bullpen. Evan Meek throwing bottom of the mound, just beginning to throw in the pen. 1 ball, 1 strike count. No score in this game, bottom of the 8th inning. 1-1 delivery on the way, and that's going to miss inside. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Myers. There's Jake McGee on the other side. Ball game, this one as advertised. We talked in the top about this one looked like a real pitching duel. That's exactly what it has been. Now the bullpen's trying to continue that. 2-1 delivery. And drives that one foul. So Webb comes back to even up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Myers.
Good job right there. Nice confidence in that slider after missing with a couple fastballs in. Moving Myers' feet. 2 sliders for strikes. Take a look at that location, both of them. Just dotted on the outside corner, down and away.
Orioles bullpen has surrendered 12 runs over the last 10 innings after they'd given up only 1 in the previous 22. That's one of the reasons Buck Showalter is resting a number of his stalwarts in the bullpen in this game. and just made the decision before the game. I'm not using them. Used them last night to win, but I'm not going to do it here today.
Yeah, this is why you have the call-ups. They played themselves into a great position. Try to get these guys rested and strong. You certainly don't want them to lose their the rhythm that they've been able to sustain here this season. So there is a balance between the rest that you give them. You want to keep them worked and fresh. You want to be have all the cylinders working as they head into the postseason.
So the pitchers last night, we mentioned Brock, Hunter, Britton, O'Day, Miller. All 5 of those not listed as available. 2-2 delivery on the way and a check swing, and it is foul. Hadn't fooled on that, but he got the bat on it, fouls it off.
Not able to keep that front side closed long enough on the slider off Ryan Webb. No, it isn't easy by any means. Webb, a big guy in the 3/4 arm slot. But if your front hip leaks at all, you're very susceptible to this pitch on the outside corner. And already stepping in the bucket, and there it goes. Front hip gone. Really not much he can do with that pitch.
He had the right wrist fracture that put him on the DL. 2 ball, 2 strike count, delivery to him. That's hit hard. That's going to be a base hit into left field. Longoria will stop at second base, and 2 on in the 8th inning with nobody out.
This slider from Webb stayed on the plate. He wanted it. You want to keep working Myers down and away. Take a look, Caleb Joseph setting up out there. Here's the breaking ball. Well on the dish. See Caleb reaching back for it, and that gives Myers the opportunity, and he took advantage of it.
So Buck Showalter on his way out. He will make the pitching change. Webb will be responsible for the 2 runners who are on. Evan Meek will come on to pitch. Reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Gary Thorne and Mike Bordick, crunch time in this one, and here's Meek.
Yeah, Evan Meek this season, fastball 91%, breaking ball 7%, that changeup 2% of the time. Here are his numbers on the year: 7.02 earned run average, 16 2/3 innings. Opponent's hitting 292 overall. Lefties up to 342. Righties at 222. Now, Evan Meek broke camp with the big club and had a great month of April, but then started to show some inconsistency, so sent him back down. And he just tore it up in AAA. Unbelievable numbers down there. 1.94 earned run average, and then 41 2/3 innings of work. So and picked up 16 saves as well. So getting the call back up here in September.
James Loney, 2 on. They're playing for bunt. Pitch will be taken away. Flaherty is in at third base. Lead runner is Longoria with a single. Myers at first with a single. And Evan Meek facing Loney with Escobar on deck. 0 for 3 for Loney in the ball game, and Loney a 1 for 5 off Meek, and not bunting there. He fouls that one back. Scoreless in the 8th inning. There's nobody out. Ryan Mattis in the bullpen for the Orioles. Loney gets a chance here against the right-hander. 295 off righties. 2 ball, 1 strike delivery, and that'll be up high and away. So he gets ahead 3-1.
Not too quick right now. Losing a couple balls up and away on the arm side. Slow himself down a little bit.
Loney with a 3-1. Hardy holding the runner at second, Longoria. And he walked him, and they're loaded.
Take a look at Evan Meek's delivery here from the stretch now. Had great consistencies in AAA. There, he's lost a couple pitches up and away to the lefty. You got to be careful with Loney, but trouble finding the zone with all of his offerings there.
Here is Yunel Escobar with the bases loaded and nobody out. Longoria the single, Myers the single, and Loney the walk. No score, 8th inning. Escobar's had a base hit, a walk, and he's flied out. The infield, of course, will play for 2. Ground ball to third. Foul. Boy, we've had 3 or 4 balls down to third that have just missed going over the bag. That one not hit hard, but right down the line.
Yeah, there have been some close ones. Hard hit balls in the 5-6 hole. Here's another close one. Game decider. Longoria heads up. Just jumping over.
Jays have come back to tie the Red Sox. 3 runs in the 8th inning, 6-6. Jays got a chance to move into second if they get a win. 0-1 count. Yunel Escobar waiting. He'll foul that one away. So Meek gets ahead on the count. 0-2.
Good job by Evan Meek. Get back into the count. Take a look at Yunel. Man on third. Less than 2 outs. Scored 10 out of 22 times. He's looking to try to put the ball in play here. Orioles defense, though, if they don't have the ability to turn the double play up the middle, and try to gun it down at home.
They've moved in, huh?
Yeah.
Infield moved in now. Escobar to second, and it goes off the glove of Jonathan Schoop, and a run will score. Only one, but it is one. Longoria crosses the first run of the ball game.
A tough chance right there from Jonathan Schoop. Possibly thinking about this situation, what he wanted to do with the baseball. It is a bullet off the bat of Escobar, and just working itself the ball away from Schoop and unable to get that glove down on it. Definitely a double play ball. Hit plenty hard enough.
So it's a base hit for Escobar and an RBI, and the first one of the ball game. And the bases remain loaded, and there's still nobody out. Logan Forsythe, a walk, has flied out and struck out. Forsythe, again, the infield will play at the same depth they're in. Forsythe hits to it. Going to go to the plate. There's one. Joseph nowhere else to go, but Hardy gets the out, preventing that second run from scoring as Myers is retired.
Well, there you go. Nice play by J.J. Hardy. Another hard hit ground ball right to the plate to gun down that run. I want to get it out of hand. Done by the veteran shortstop. Quite possibly that's what Jonathan Schoop was thinking about. Maybe picked his head up a little too quickly, thinking about gunning the run down at home.
So now there are two down. The bases, one down rather. The bases remain loaded. Hannigan coming up. Hannigan, a walk, a fielder's choice, and he is grounded out. You can see how painfully hard it has been for the Rays to get those big hits. The Orioles hoping that continues here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Now the infield back to play for 2. And it is taken for a strike. Meek trying to work his way through this. The run will be charged to Webb, who gives up a run on 2 hits in an inning plus with 1 walk. Hannigan, the number 8 hitter. The defense pretty much straight up infield outfield. 0-1 delivery by Meek. Foul back. So he gets ahead of him 0-2.
Oh, he's made his adjustments. He's definitely back in the zone. He's got a couple of the ground balls that he's wanted. Here, well ahead of Hannigan. Expand the zone, work down. Try to get another ground ball, get himself out of this jam. Hope the Orioles offense comes to life.
Oh, 2-1 out. Another one foul. Ryan Hannigan, as he's done in most of his at-bats in this ball game, providing some souvenirs for the fans, fouled off a lot of pitches. Hannigan holds the count at 2 strikes. Meek trying to get that ground ball. Loney, Escobar, Forsythe, the runners. Here's the 0-2 delivery. Hannigan gets it. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Loney will score. Escobar coming. Here's the throw. Off the mark. He's in. So Hannigan with a single and 2 RBIs and a 3-0 Rays lead.
Well, make a nice job of getting ahead, but then elevated a pitch there to Hannigan. Couldn't get that ball down in the zone. Up a couple runs.
Forsythe moved over to third base. Joe Saunders will be coming on for the Orioles. Face to Jesus as 3 runs are in for Tampa Bay. Down here in the 8th inning as Webb and Meek discuss. They've been in. Now it's Joe Saunders.
Joe Saunders, here's his numbers on the year in the big leagues. Of course, he just got recalled from AAA Norfolk. The Orioles picked him up. The opponent batting average at 356. And what happened is Saunders took a chance, pitched down there, and actually pitched out of the bullpen and pitched very well. 12 innings, only 2 earned runs given up, and he has never made a major league relief appearance until right now. So Joe Saunders, potentially lefty-lefty matchup. Certainly the ability to give some depth out of the pen and potentially spot start. He had some success with the Orioles a couple years ago.
Kurt Casale with runners at first and third. Casale pinch hitting goes to third, and that one too is going to be fouled. So Saunders on for the Orioles. As the first pitch, as Mike said, he's ever thrown as a reliever at the major league level. Casale's appeared in 24 games, hitting .169, no homers and 2 RBIs. He's a 25-year-old called up from Charlotte, added on September 1 with the expanded rosters. Delivery to him, showed bunt. Did it hit him? Yes. He'll go to first. And the bases are loaded again.
Buck Showalter wants to see if he attempted to bunt this ball. So safety squeeze right here. He gets out there. I mean, his hands went forward, but he was, I think, in the act of trying to get out of the way of the baseball, not try to bunt the baseball. Take a look. See the bat out in front. No attempt really to bunt the baseball, then get out of the way.
So the base is loaded for Zobrist. An 8th inning where they are sending their 8th batter to the plate. Been a station-to-station inning for the most part. The 3 runs in, an RBI single by Escobar. RBI base hit with the bases loaded by Hannigan. 4 singles in the inning, a walk and a hit batter. 0-1 count. Zobrist, a base hit back in the 3rd. Takes the pitch. That will miss inside for a ball. Saunders on, trying to shut this down. After no offense at all. 3 runs in, bottom of the 8th. Ground ball towards second. Jonathan Schoop's got it. Hardy 1, relay over to first. Double play. So Saunders comes on and gets the ground ball that he needed. But 3 runs are in on 4 hits with a couple left on. 9th inning, Rays 3, Orioles nothing. Baseball on Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by visitannapolis.org. Find it here. Enter to win an autumn weekend in Annapolis. Go to visitannapolis.org. Gary Thorne and Mike Bordick, the Orioles going to the 9th inning trailing. Zobrist is going to move to left field. Kevin Kiermaier is going to come on to play in the center, defensive replacement. He's just entering the ball game.
And Jake McGee now in the ball game. It is a power arm. 96% fastballs, 95 to 98 miles an hour. Some easy cheese exploding through the zone. The breaking ball 4% of the time. It's just an occasional curveball that'll drop in there. 65 games. Let's have 15 saves on the season and 16 opportunities. The last time he blew one was against the Orioles. Opponent's hitting 185. Take a look. Opponent home run. He has not given up a long ball all season. Lefties at 231. Righties down to 167.
So McGee comes on trying to pick up the save. Boxberger is the pitcher of record for the win at the moment. And Webb the pitcher of record on the losing side for the Orioles. Jones goes after the high heat for a strike.
Last home run Jake McGee gave up was a year ago yesterday. Pretty impressive streak going right now.
Adam Jones, a 2 for 9 off him, falls behind here 0-2.
Take a look at the comeback wins this season. The Orioles 34 comeback wins. That's tied for fourth most in all of Major League Baseball. The Rays 23. That's the fourth fewest in the majors.
Mentioned how many times the Rays have been shut out. A major league leading 17. The Orioles have been shut out only 9 times. They're being shut out here in the 9th inning. And one away.
And that's a pretty good fastball right there. 97 miles an hour. And take a look at it ride arm side up and away. Boy, if you think about anything else, it is Bayou. Threw him a nice breaking ball for the second strike. And high heat to finish him off.
McGee has a 1-0 record and a 3 for 4 save number against the Orioles this year. 6th game he's been in. 5 innings. No earned runs on 2 hits. 8 strikeouts in 5 1/3 innings. Now 9. And the pitch taken away for a ball. Cruz up. Cruz 0 for 3. Boxberger an inning with 2 strikeouts. Cobb 7 innings, no runs, 6 hits, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. Cruz will foul it back 1-1. A reminder on Saturday, September 20, Orioles host the Longevity Foundation Breathe Deep Baltimore 5K walk, raising funds for the lung cancer in memory of the Orioles' late PR director, Monica Barlow. Hope you'll participate. 9 a.m. it starts, September 20. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way to Cruz. Swing and a miss again. That 95-mile-an-hour fastball up.
Boy, it is hard to catch up with a fastball like that. And it's really kind of a very slow delivery. But boy, when he lets it go, it comes out of his hand very good. You see that third pitch right at the top of the zone, 95.
Cruz waiting on a 1-2. Orioles 3-game win streak in jeopardy here in the 9th inning. Tampa Bay 3-game losing streak, a chance to get out of it. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Mano a mano. It'll hold at 2-2. Cruz has picked up a couple of hits off McGee, 2 for 6. Flamethrower, fastball hitter. 2-2 delivery to him, and that one's fouled back. Every one of those, Cruz gets a little better timing.
And Nelson just missing a couple fastballs there. 96 miles an hour. I wonder if McGee is going to think about something else, maybe that breaking ball, or continue to work the perimeter of the plate. We hope that Cruz expands the zone a little bit.
2-2 delivery on the way, and got him.
Nelson Cruz not liking the call at all right here. A little piece of his mind. Let's take a look at the fastball. Appears to be off the plate after a steady diet of 95 on the outside corner. 95 in off the plate for strike 3.
So the Rays pitchers continue on their drive to become the staff with the most strikes in a single season ever. 6 for Cobb, 2 for Boxberger, so far 2 for McGee. Chris Davis up. Davis will take the pitch, and it's in there for a strike. Davis a 2 for 8, including a home run off McGee. 0-1 delivery on the way, and that's a strike. You know, one thing, they haven't hesitated to throw strikes in this game. Once Cobb got going, that's all he was doing. Boxberger and McGee, the same thing. Twelve pitches, 10 strikes. 0-2 delivery.
Pretty good try right there. 97 miles an hour. Let's work it off the plate a little bit. As you know, the hitter's got to gear up to catch up to the fastball and protect. Just missing there.
And the delivery by McGee will end it. So he strikes the Orioles out. Strikes the side out here in the ninth. And the Orioles are shut out for the 10th time this year, as the Rays come away with 3 runs, 4 hits in the bottom half of the 8th inning and pick up a 3-0 win. 3-8-0 for the Rays. The Orioles go 0-6-0. Boxberger the win, Webb the loss. Save goes to McGee.